I can't do it. We'll do it live. Do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
Mister, will you please wake up?
Grant with that jump shot's off. Long rebound run down by Hodges, and here's the King. That's a three.
This is Snowman in the Morning.
Hey, this promises to be fun.
Oh, yeah.
Can't wait.
Are you kidding me? Do you believe it?
It must have been the Road Warriors night last night because of the NBA playoffs. All three road teams won. Good morning. Cole Johnson here. One half of Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson. The other half is convalescing. Week number 3 of convalescing from cancer surgery. Brian is doing well. He sends his love to all of you. And if you want to contribute to the to the family, all you have to do is go on YouTube. We are live right now. That's right. Live right now on YouTube. Go there. Type Snowman in the Morning 50. That's Snowman in the Morning 50. That's Snowman in the Morning 5 to the 0. And you can join my man Andrew, my man Ryan, my man Sick, my girl Trisha, Latine. You can join many others who come and want to share their knowledge because they are knowledgeable people themselves in the world of sports. And that's what we as Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson provides. Such as my man here, Wise Del Jefe. Good morning to you, sir. One brilliant mind from Stuck in My Mind. Man. All right, so let's get into it, right, shall we? Well, before I do get into it, so at the bottom of the first hour, we're going to have Sam of Shady Sports Network. We're going to talk about the USFL, what happened in week 1, take a look at what's going to happen in week 2, which actually one game kicks off tonight, if I'm not mistaken. Top of hour number 2, we're going to have BS3 Network owner Ben Southard III. Hopefully the bottom hour to number 2, we're going to enter the Boomshakalakah. Yeah. We're going to have Chris all about that bass with us too. And there's going to be some more too. In fact, I might have a special guest who's going to ride with me through this broadcast as well, but we'll stay tuned. But since the live button is on, I see the red button lit. Let's get to it, shall we? Let's start with the late game first. So the game in Mile High between the Nuggets and the Warriors went down to the wire. It looked like the Nuggets were fighting tooth and nail with the Warriors. But the experience of the Warriors, coupled with Jokic and just was too much for the Nuggets as they fell at home 118-113, and now they trail in the series 3-0. Now, the Warriors didn't play their best game. They didn't play their worst game that I've seen them play this year, but they didn't play their best game, especially in the third quarter. It seemed as though they met the energy that the Nuggets came on the court with, and in the first half hung with them and gave them a good punch, but it seemed as though they seemed listless when it came to the second half, at least the beginning of it. And the Nuggets seemed to catch fire, and they seemed to feel comfortable once they actually coasted to a lead going into the fourth quarter. It just wasn't meant to happen. So the Warriors were paced by 27 points from Jordan Poole, who he continues his hot streak, and he has stepped up in this series. And it looks like that we might have to talk about him in the same light as Stephen Curry, who had 27 last night. Klay Thompson had 26 last night. Draymond Green, who only had 6 points, but of course it's more about him doing other things. Of course, he led the team with 10 assists, pulled down 5 boards too, got 2 steals and a block. So his contribution is a little more spread out evenly than the others. The others are more points production-wise and shooting, really. It was buoyed by those 3 because Gary Payton II, I'm loving the fact that he fits with this Warriors team because he basically does the garbage work for the Warriors off the bench with 11. Wonderful job with them. Those 3, along with Payton's 11, paced the way for them to have a victory. And of course, Wiggins had an off night, or I should say, had a quiet night, really. Only 9 points for him. But those three, the 27 by Poole, the 27 by Curry, the 26 by Thompson, paved the way for the Warriors to win in Mile High. Now, for the unfortunate, I hate to say losing, Nuggets, Jokic with 37. And I said someone else had to step up. It seemed as though it looked like it was going to be Aaron Gordon because he had 18. And he looked like he had a monster third quarter. But it just did not last. And you had Morris with 10. You had Barton with 13. You did not have the contribution that you need to have with Jokic. I mean, when you put forth the stats of 37 points, 18 rebounds, 5 dimes, you need to have someone to supplement that. Otherwise, he has to go for 50 or 60 in order for them to win. And that's too much to ask for any player. I don't care how talented you are. And that's the issue, and that's the problem that I foresee with the Nuggets. And I said this along with Wise, and I said this solo. The Nuggets need more than Jokic. They need more than Jokic to contribute, and they need. And when I say I need more, he probably needs two guys who can average 15 points or more each game to supplement what he does, because he can give you 26 on a bad night. On a bad night, he can give you that. Wise and stuck in my mind says, "I wish I was in my home studio." I understand, brother, but I know I know the grind is real. I understand, brother. I know the grind is real. So tip off for the next game they play is on Saturday. I'm sorry, on Sunday. My bad. On Sunday, tip off is at 3:30 p.m. and Eastern, and they have to fight for their lives. And the same critique that I had before is the same critique I have now. They have to find a way to slow down the guards, Poole, Curry, and Thompson. They got to find a way to slow them down. Not stop them. Find a way to slow them down. I mean, they they put forth 79 points last night. They have to find a way to slow them down. If they can slow them down, they have an opportunity to do something great. But if they can't do it, if they can combine for 80 points again or close to 80 points again, well, you might as well pack and go fishing if you're the Nuggets, because there's really no stopping those three. But you got to slow them down, and you have to contribute on the offensive end. Or if you're not going to contribute on the offensive end, you got to lock it down defensively. The Nuggets, to me, doesn't strike me as that type of team defensively where they can hang. So they got to offensively put the firepower in. And it goes back to, I need more than Nikola Jokic to contribute offensively. And Gordon with 18, that's good. That's a start. But he needs to contribute more or continue to consistently contribute that much. And someone else needs to step up. It is imperative that more than just one man bring this team to prominence. Otherwise, this is a sweep. And I'm not bragging about that. I'm not boasting about that. I'm just saying this is sweep territory, because if it's one man against a team, the one man in the playoffs for sure will not succeed. I don't care who you are. That's including Michael Jordan, and that was proven in many series in the 80s. On to Salt Lake City, where the Mavericks beat the Jazz 126-118. They go up in the series 2-1. Let's see. Finney Smith with a key 3 at the end of the game. He finished with 14. Bullock with 12. Dinwiddie with 20. He came up with some key buckets in the third and fourth quarters. Kleber and Bertans off the bench with 17 and 15 respectively. Green with 12. But Jalen Brunson comes through again. Although the threes were cold because he was 0 for the game. 31 points, 5 assists. He came up huge again. And this win now fortifies the fact that they do not now need Luka. I'm not talking about the rest of the series. They do need him for the rest of the series and for the rest of the playoffs. That is a no-brainer. That is a non-starter. But in this series, they do not need him for the next game. They can have him come back in game 5 when they return to Dallas. Now, for the hard fought and hard charger but losing Jazz, Bogdanovich put up 24. You had Gobert with 15 with 7 rebounds. You had Conley, who you don't really hear him scoring that much, 21. Not too much effort off the bench, and Donovan Mitchell put up 32. Unfortunately, he was cold from 3, 1 of 8, and 10 to 21 from the field. Now, I mentioned that the first 12 minutes were key in this series and in this game, because the Jazz, especially if they do not have home court advantage, they try to steal a game. And then if they steal a game, they put the pressure in the first quarter of game 3 when the series goes to their building. And so I say the first quarter, when you have the crowd amped and excited and they pour excitement into the team feeds off of that excitement, and they just simply hit you with this deluge of energy. We'll talk about that in the other game that took place last night. That it'll be hard for the visiting team to recover, because you might have to take these punches and just take an 8 count, basically, maybe even a standing 8. But what impressed me about this game is that what I said came true. I said the Mavericks, the first 12 minutes, had to withstand the pressure of the onslaught of energy. And if they can meet the Jazz energy, they'll have a good chance of winning. They won the first quarter, and that set the tone for the rest of the game. Now, they slipped up and they did not have an all good defensive effort. They allowed the Jazz to simply just go buck wild and have 40 points in the third quarter. But it was true what I said. All the Mavericks had to do was withstand that energy. And if they can meet the Jazz energy and the crowd's energy with their own, they will come out victors. And they did just that. And I'm proud of the Mavericks from the standpoint of they're young, they're growing, but they needed to have this type of effort and this type of game and to make this type of statement and say, well, they need to rely on the home crowd. Well, they don't need to rely on the home crowd. They just need to rely on themselves as a unit. And that was a key victory for them. Tomorrow night is when game 4 takes place, of course, still in Salt Lake City. Tip-off is at 4:30 p.m. And the keys to that game, the Jazz have to defensively be strong. And I think Gobert has to not be camped in the paint. I think he probably has to go outward because the Mavericks aren't really attacking in. They're attacking outward. The Mavericks, what they have to do is they have to keep this pressure. They have to keep this tempo. They have to keep this fast tempo, because I don't think the Jazz want to run like this. Not saying that they're incapable of doing it. They like the grind. They like the grind. It's sort of like the Bucks in the Eastern Conference. They like half-court sets and grindings. They can operate that way a little better. But the Mavericks have to keep the pressure on, and they can do that. I think they will be in great shape. Which leads me to me the game of last night, the Grizzlies at Timberwolves. The Timberwolves almost scored 40 points in the first quarter. They seem to be ready. Like the charge that I said that the Mavericks had to withstand, it looked like the Grizzlies had to withstand that too, because the Timberwolves came, especially Patrick Beverley, on offense and a little bit defense too, because he came up with a key steal in the first quarter, and withstand the onslaught. It just came fast and furious. But the Grizzlies withstood it. They came back from one double-digit deficit in the first half, and then they came back from a 16-point deficit in the second half to be 104-95 victors over the Timberwolves. now, just like the Mavericks, the Grizzlies do have home court advantage again in the playoffs. And so now it's all about what they can do from there. If this defense can be as stubborn as it was in the second and fourth quarters of this game, and virtually all of when they were in Memphis in game 2, the Timberwolves really have no leg on which to stand, because if the Grizzlies can play defense that way, the Timberwolves really do not have an answer. The Grizzlies were paced actually by Bane with 26, because he hit key 3 after key 3 after key 3 in both the second and the fourth quarters. Clark off the bench, he was huge. He was huge in his contributions too, 20 points and 8 rebounds. Jones with 11, and this was off of an off night for Morant. He only shot for 5 of 18 from the field, and he was off on the free throw line too. 16 points, but he knew the shot was off, and he had to contribute in other ways. So on the defensive end, 3 blocks, and on the and with the dimes, he dropped 10 of them. So that was steady. Now for the Timberwolves, you had D'Angelo Russell, who led the way with 22. You had Anthony Edwards, who paced them along with them with 19. You had Beasley off the bench with 11. You had Beverly, who was hot in the beginning and cooled down a little bit. He ended up with 14. Got 2 blocks of 2 steals too. 2 blocks of 3 steals. And Vanderbilt, who started early, cooled off late, and ended with 10. The key stat that I'm looking at here, Karl Anthony Towns, both in personal fouls and in points. He came this close to fouling out in game 3, and he only managed to score 8 points on 3 of 4 shooting. Here is where the Timberwolves will fail. This is the key to game 4. Karl Anthony Towns needs to be the beast. It is imperative. It is necessary. It is what has to happen. He needs to be a beast. And if he's not going to be a beast, you're going to see another L like this in the Twin Cities. But that is what needs to happen. That is what needs to happen. So going forward, if Karl Anthony Towns could be that beast, that is what is necessary. But if he's not going to be that beast, forget it. It doesn't matter what the others do. Even Anthony Edwards, who's been a stud, they feed off a cat offensively. And if he's there, everybody else is going to go crazy. If he's not, you're going to have the dross like he had in the second and fourth quarters for the Timberwolves. Tip-off of game 4 in this game will be tomorrow night, 10 p.m. 9 p.m. Eastern is going to be a tip-off there. And all the Grizzlies have to do is just defensively still be there. Defensively sell out. If they can defensively be the way they were, the offense will take care of itself. I think the second and fourth quarters proved that to them. They have to defensively continue to be who they are. 96 points in game 2, 95 in game 3. If they can continue that defensive pressure, that is what is necessary. And speaking of what is necessary, I have to bring on my brother. It's been a while since I've been chopping it up with him. Man, I'm so glad that I'm going to chop it up with him now. Let's introduce my man, Cool McCain of the Play Caller Sports Doc. How you doing, brother?
What's going on, Cole?
Man, I'm doing good. Man. All right, so what are your thoughts about last night's games in the NBA playoffs?
Well, man, that Warriors Nuggets game, man, it was a good game. I know you started with that one.
Yeah.
You said exactly what I've been saying all series about that game, man. Aaron Gordon does not step up enough. He plays like a C tier player, you know, and Jokic's just out there balling, man. He's out there doing everything he can to win.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't win NBA, a game alone. You know, you can't win NBA games by yourself. You have to have other guys step up And he just hasn't had consistently anyone stepping up in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And then, that makes a lot of people say, Embiid, the way he's playing, if it include the playoffs, he would be the MVP. And I'm like, so you mean to tell me having a guy like Tyrese Maxey on your team who's out there dropping 25, 30 points a game, James Harden out there dropping 15 to 20 points a game, and other guys stepping up, and then you being placed in a position where you're not the focus of the defensive game plan because you have so many other weapons,
mm-hmm.
and you're able to make some big shots, means you should be the MVP. And I'm like, I love casual basketball fans because they swear that they know basketball. I'm like, that's not how it works.
And that's the thing. And you and I have talked about this. Aaron Gordon was brought in to be, like you said, the B tier type of support cast. And especially when you don't have Michael Porter Jr. and Jamal Murray, who are both of them are studs and a half. And you pair him with, to me, the best big man in the game today. I mean, that team would be finals bound, or at least it would be a contender if they had that type of talent all together on the same court. And then you would have someone like a Aaron Donald who would give you the 14, 15 points along with those three. That'd be perfect. But you don't have two of those three. And you need Aaron Donald to actually come up even more than 18. And the messed up part is, this is great that he came up with 18 in game 3, but what was he in the games they were in San Francisco? You need more of that. And I agree with you, man. That's why I feel. I know the Nuggets are your team. That's why I feel for Jokic. I feel for the Joker, because the dude is doing it by himself. And like I said, it's like when I was watching with the Rockets back when I was younger, and Hakeem didn't have Maxwell or Thorpe or Kenny Smith or Mario Elie. It was just him. And he would put up 40 points, 45 points. Sometimes he even put up 50 points. But if he played against a team in the playoffs that played like a team, the 50 points didn't matter because they still took L's and they still got bounced to the playoffs. And to your casual fan jab, that's when people will say, well, look at that. Jokic is taking L's. I thought he was the best big man. Look at him. Well, yeah, I'm looking at him. He's putting up the stats. That's not him. It's not him. It's the supporting cast. And the fact that, and to me, I think it bolsters his MVP candidacy because he's doing this with low-level role players and bench players.
Yep, exactly. And people just can't see through the big shots. Jokic has made big shots as well. They just don't get publicized because they're not playing very well.
Right.
But kudos to Golden State.
Right.
Jordan Poole is a monster right now, and then you have him. Draymond Green is. I mean, you don't miss Draymond Green until he doesn't play, right? Because he doesn't do a lot statistically. But when you watch the game, he's energy. He's a disruptor. He'll make a couple of buckets. He makes good passes. And he doesn't mind making a pass to make the pass for the shot. So he doesn't mind being that guy to make that pass that you may not get credit for, but it's very important as well. He loves to do one of the things I used to tell all the kids when I coached basketball. And that's, you can't take the fouls with you, so you might as well leave them on the court. And he leaves them on the court every game.
I got to remember that one. All right. I like that. You can't take the fouls with you.
Can't take them with you, man. You might as well use them. Can't take them with you.
I like that.
And he definitely agrees with that philosophy. And, Klay Thomas, Steph Curry, man, Gary Payton, the second went off from 3 last night. That was very unexpected. And I mean, they fought, and that's all you can really ask. The Warriors are a much better team. And in these series, the better team should win, and they should win pretty handily. And that's what they're going to do. Unfortunately, Game 4 is it.
I would love to talk to more fans of a team like you who actually get it. When you can actually look at your team and not have all the rose-colored glasses look in Pollyanna viewpoint of them, where it's like, look, my team is what it is. They're against the better squad. And look, I want them to win, of course, but what can you
They're
do
not.
when it's one man against an army?
Right.
You know, and look, I this is what's so messed up about the Nuggets. If the team actually had Porter and Murray, they would be built and constructed to actually beat the Warriors, because you could have Porter cancel out any of them. You can have Porter cancel out Thompson. You can have Murray cancel out Poole now, and you can have Jokic cancel out Curry with the points. And the one thing that the Warriors don't have is a presence in the middle that could stop a big man like Jokic. But
yeah, the most important thing that I saw last night was DeMarcus Cousins winning the game and just went fool on them in the middle because they don't have a big.
Right.
And Jokic is more of like he has to do so many roles now,
right?
Because of what's missing. He doesn't spend as much time as the post as he could, admittedly.
Right.
He plays a little, more of a he's not a pounder so much. He's more of a finesse big. And, Charles Barkley said how that's a weakness. It's not a weakness, but when you have to basically try to account for two other people,
right,
and how they play as well as yourself, it pulls you out of the middle more. It makes you want to shoot more threes than you probably should.
Right.
Be more of a facilitator and not have that attack the goal mentality, but you're trying to get your teammates involved because you need their help. This man is out there, nose red, eyes red, just looking tired, because he's just trying to do so much. And hey, shout out to him for not giving up and not being one of those guys that certainly gets an injury and can't play because he realizes it's over, but it is over. But next season, a lot of people have gotten experience. Hopefully Highland will be better. Morris can go back to the role that he's better equipped for. Murray will have had the full recovery. Hopefully Porter Jr. will be healthy as well, man. We see this team together for what it really is, and it should be very dangerous. But not this game.
No, not this series. And that's why I really feel for Jokic. I do. Good morning to you, BS3 Network, all you fellas, Ben, Ivan, all the fam. Appreciate you guys. I really feel for Jokic because you said it best. It's not that Jokic is soft; is that he is overextended. And he has to be a stretch four because, like you said, he has to fill other roles. It's like, okay, well, there's not really a point guard that can facilitate the offense. And if I leave it to anybody else, I don't think the facilitation is going to be all that smooth. And the offense is not going to run all that fluid. So I'm going to have to do that too. Yeah. And there's no big time shooter that I have that I can just simply say, okay, I can leave the outside to this person or these guys. I got to do it myself. Yeah. He's overextended.
Yeah.
He's overextended. Oh my gosh. Oh man. All right. So, before I get Sam of the Shady Sports Network on, what are your thoughts about the other two games that took place last night?
So I told a good friend of mine that's a Mavericks fan before the series, if y'all win, I told him, I said, if y'all win games without Doncic, I'm gonna tell you right now, don't call me because I've been saying all season, Doncic is a black void with the basketball, and that hurts the rest of the team. And that's not to mean he's not a good player. No, he doesn't. He doesn't move the ball around. He hasn't gotten that part of the game in his mind. Like, look, let me move this ball around. Whoever's open is open. I'm gonna give them the opportunities. If they can't take them, then that's when we're gonna talk on the side. But I'm gonna give them the opportunities. Without him playing, the ball is moving. Different guys are stepping up. You see more energy on the defensive side. And they're more of a threat to the Jazz this way because the Jazz have Donovan Mitchell, who is another guy that's ball dominant. I don't think he's as bad as Doncic at this point in their careers, but the ball stops with him a lot. So when you have one team that has that guy that the ball stops with a lot, and the other team is like, we just playing fluid motion defense, Princeton kind of offense. We're just moving, cutting, getting the ball and making things happen. That team that has that freedom is going to normally win games. And that's what we're seeing happen with Dallas right now.
Wow. Now that is an indictment and a half. But I'm not saying that you're wrong, because I do think Luka at times fancies himself to be the guy that puts it all on his shoulders at times and say, okay, all right, guys, ride my wave, and just takes the whole team, since he's the point guard, takes the whole team on an ISO trip. And in the playoffs, you do ISO one too many times, you let a defense set. We see it in the Nets and the Celtics.
Yes, we do.
I mean, they have Durant and ISO. It's to the point where the Celtics know, okay, well, we're going to try to deny as hard as we can, and then when Durant gets the ball, we're going to have at least two guys on him from the time he dribbles to the time he shoots.
Yep.
And it's
frustrating them.
Yeah, and it's frustrating them. And when you have that, that's an issue, and that can lead to a team that is not as talented to actually sneak up on a team that is more talented and beat them, because you're not operating at full strength, which I think leads to why Jalen Brunson is actually beginning to shine here, because he doesn't necessarily have to play with Doncic on the court. That's a really good point. That's a really good point.
And then for the Grizzlies and Timberwolves, we can make this real quick. I'm surprised the Timberwolves won a game. I know Karl Anthony Towns is, he's cat, and he won the 3-point contest, and he had a 40-point game, and those things are great. But when it comes down to grinded down basketball, playoff basketball, Memphis in this particular series is way better prepared than Minnesota. We saw that last night. We saw that in game 2. In game 1, we saw Minnesota sneak in and get one on them. Yeah. And I think what you really did was make Memphis say, bro, we just let these dudes beat us at home in game 1.
And it's time now. And not only that, dang, they hung 130 on us. Wait, hold on. Wait. Exactly. I thought we were the team that's supposed to do that.
I thought we were the number 2 seed. What's going on?
Yeah. I thought we were the team that's supposed to do that. I thought we were the squad that's supposed to be all energy and amped and athletic and fly all around the court. I thought that's what we were supposed to be. I thought we were supposed to have the up tempo, and the opponent can't match our tempo, and the opponent can't match our energy. What was that? Yeah, I agree with you. I think that was the wake up call the Grizzlies needed, and that defense. Oh my gosh, I'm impressed by that end of the floor about them.
Way more than offense.
Yeah, forget the offense, which the offense is solid, but the defensive end, man, it's like, okay, they were challenged. It was like the coach said, "Look, you put no effort in this game after game 1. The coach is scoring 17 points. That don't matter." No, you made it too easy for them to score. You gave 130. You made it too easy for the Timberwolves to score. No, that should not fly. 96 in game 2, 95 in game 3, and held to the 2 12-point quarters last night. Yeah, this team. Yeah, I agree, and especially if Cat decides to basically let the moment be too big for him, like it looks like that's what he's doing in the last 2 games. It's not gonna go well. It's not gonna go well. But yeah, we'll talk a little bit more about the NBA. We're going to switch gears and go USFL, and of course, joining us each and every Friday at around 8:35 in the morning on Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson is my man, Sam of the Shady Sports Network. Sam, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing pretty well, man. How are you doing?
Oh, man, I cannot complain. I'm doing well myself. All right, so the USFL has kicked off. We had over Easter weekend, we had our full slate of games. What is your first impression of the product on the field?
I thought it was exactly what I expected. It's not a far departure from the NFL product, other than, the level of play from the actual players. But I mean, the speed of the game, the level of penalties, stuff like that was pretty much to be expected. The one thing that I thought was kind of alarming was the amount of turnovers. But again, they only had a 3-week training camp. We need to remember that these offenses are still gelling. That probably will still see that for like the next couple weeks, and then it'll start to smooth out as week 4 comes around. I thought it was great play, though. I think the production that Fox put forth with all the different broadcasters they had was great. I thought Peacock did a great job as well. NBC, same thing. I think it's very well presented, and I think fans are going to start flocking to it now that they saw that it was a solid product to watch on TV.
Yeah, I think that was the big key that I took away from what I saw in week 1. Talk to me about some of the innovations that we saw. Like, I think I saw a wide receiver cam. Talk to me about some of the things that Fox is trying to bring to the USFL that makes this different than the NFL or college football presentations that they do.
Absolutely. So there's a couple different things that I think if you watch the week 1 games that you definitely noticed. That would be the helmet cam. There were 2 defensive turnovers where the player had that helmet cam. I don't know if it's on every helmet. I haven't looked into that quite yet. But they got lucky. They had 2 players that had it on a big turnover in the game. So we got that firsthand view of, I believe, of Reggie Northrup from Houston returning, I think it was an interception, maybe it was a fumble for a touchdown. And then there was another big play. I'm blanking which game that one was in. Both of them were so cool to see from the player's perspective. And it was something that I don't think we've ever experienced in the NFL, and something that I don't think they'd really adopt because it's a little bit too far of a stretch from their current broadcast style. And then there was also the drones. They're actually employing drone pilots to come in and fly drone cameras around the game. And I was actually pretty amazed with how close they're actually getting to the play. And it's kind of crazy to see. I mean, they're 3, 4, 5 feet away from these players as they're running down the field. They're right in the middle of the scrum as, a fumble recovery is happening and stuff like that. And it's definitely a unique perspective I've never seen from any other league before.
You mentioned a key phrase in your description of the helmet cam and the other innovations. Another one that I saw that I believe that because the NFL is pretty much set in their presentation, we won't see is interviews with the player as the game is actually going on.
Yeah, I like that too.
Yeah. So talk to me about how did you, as a fan and as an analyst, how did you feel about the players being interviewed as the game was going on?
I actually kind of liked it because I think, once again, I'm blanking which game it was. I watched a little bit of all 4 of them. But there was one player that was being interviewed, and he got distracted mid-interview because his team had a big play. So he kind of stopped answering questions, focused on the field for a minute, and then oh, sorry about that, and goes back to the interview. And I thought that was a cool moment because it was you could see his excitement for his own team kind of building on camera as he's being interviewed. And it was a cool moment, for them to catch that. We see it from an NFL perspective, but I don't think it's quite that up close and personal. And I definitely liked that aspect of their production. And I definitely look forward to more of that going forward because, you're going to see guys that are getting amped up because of, they just scored a touchdown or whatever it was. And it's just a really cool aspect of the game.
Yeah. What I also loved is, of course, the fact that they embrace different innovations, but they do so, like you said earlier in this interview, they embrace new technologies, but they also embrace what the game actually brings normally as normally presented. And I'm glad that they tried not to steer too far away from the presentation, like what the XFL 1.0 tried to do 20 years ago, where they tried to go too far to the left. And it's well, I thought I was here to watch a football game, not, not this or not this and not this. I think that's what I love the most about that. So, well, let's talk about the games in general. And speaking of general, the Generals took on the Stallions. That, of course, seemed to be the game that that had the most points. What stood out in that game as the Stallions won 28-24 over the Generals?
Well, the first big takeaway I took from it was the play of Luis Perez. For a guy who wasn't drafted and was in training camp a lot shorter than the rest of these players, he looked a lot sharper than a lot of the quarterback play that we saw in the other games. And it was impressive, I think. And I mean, we all knew who Luis Perez was. If you watch spring football, he was in the XFL, he was in the AAF, he's bounced around the NFL. Excuse me. But he's one of those guys that, like, I just expected him to be a little bit rusty in week one and then kind of get settled in. But he actually had one of the more efficient games. On the other side, I think it's Alex Magoo. I hope I pronounced his name correctly. He looked shaky despite being in training camp all season long, or all off season with Birmingham. And then he gave way to Jamar Smith, I believe. And Smith ended up looking a little bit better, but he also looked shaky. I think his stats were like 11 of 21, and he had a touchdown pass. No interceptions, but he also ran a touchdown in. And he ended up winning the game for Birmingham due to some Generals mishaps on defense. But it was one of those games where I was just a little bit surprised to see the quarterback play go the way it was. I expected it to be the opposite way around, if anything, with Perez looking rusty and Magoo looking decent, at least, looking like he's been in training camp. It was interesting to see.
Good morning, Ryan. Ryan McCarthy says good morning to everybody. Hence says happy Friday as well. He also says Luis Perez balled in the AAF and XFL. I don't know why he's not getting a shot in NFL or CFL. Would you like to take that statement on, sir?
Yeah. As much as I hate to say it, Luis Perez has a lack of arm strength. We saw it on Saturday. There was a couple throws that while caught by receivers, they were underthrows. There was several times where he had receivers open, streaking down the sideline, and he underthrew them by a good 5 to 10 yards, and the receiver had to slow up to catch the pass. Now, you can succeed like that, but not in the NFL, because defenses are going to realize that you cannot stretch the field. You're going to be a short to intermediate passing guy literally every down, and you're just not going to be able to challenge them deep. So they're going to walk the safeties up in the box, which is something that I could see USFL defenses doing eventually as well. But I just don't think that he's to the caliber of play that the NFL needs out of a guy who's going to be playing significant time. I mean, he's a solid third-string quarterback, but ultimately, I think his best bet is to just stay at the spring league level, especially at this point with his age. I believe he's 28 or 29 this season. So he's at a point where I think this is kind of going to be like the peak of his football career. He's going to be in these spring leagues, but he's going to be a starter. And there's something to be said for that. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I'd rather play than ride a bench any day.
Oh, of course. Definitely. And but I totally understand. Yeah, but I totally understand what you're saying too, because if you have a QB who does not have a strong arm, you basically have the corners and sometimes safeties and definitely linebackers sit on routes. Yeah, so I totally understand that.
Absolutely.
All right, so talk to me about your Stars. They played the Breakers. They fell 23-17. What was the things you liked about the Stars? What were the things you did not like about them in their opening game of this iteration of USFL?
So I'm not going to lie. Brian Scott looked like a capable quarterback, so that was encouraging. I expected he would come out and look really good. I mean, for anybody who didn't know, I realized a lot of fans never even caught the spring league, but now that they're following the USFL, they're not really familiar with some of these players. So just to throw this out there, Bart Andrews, the head coach of the Stars, and Brian Scott had actually gone undefeated through 2 seasons together in the spring league. So there was high expectations for them in week 1. They know each other quite well, obviously. But with that being said, Scott almost immediately threw an interception. He stared down a receiver, threw an interception. It ended up being returned for a touchdown, if I'm not mistaken, and that immediately put the Breakers in the lead, and the Stars never recovered from there. I mean, they looked decent at times, but the pass rush was relentless with Davin Bellamy and former Eagles player Sharif Miller. They were in Scott's face every single play, it seemed like.
Well, hopefully that you'll be seeing some more of good things from the Stars, and hopefully you'll see how they will pan out. And I know your prediction was that they're going to be one of the better teams of the 8, so hopefully it will pan out. Speaking about another team that you were high on, the Gamblers, they started their 2022 USFL season with a 17-12 victory. What stood out there other than Jeff Fisher not needing to be a head coach ever again in life?
Oh, that was funny. Honestly, I the first thing that stood out was the center quarterback exchange by Michigan. I mean, if you watch that game, I think there was 5 fumbles by quarterbacks. One of them, I think, was Paxton Lynch running the ball and just hanging the ball out there for the defense to grab at. But the other 4 of them were center exchanges, and that's alarming if you're a Michigan fan. But with that being said, a lot of what occurred on Sunday was the fact that Houston's defense was stout all off season. If you were paying attention, they were claiming to be the number 1 defense in the league before a game was even played. And I thought it was a bold statement, but after week 1, they have a very, very legitimate claim to make to be the number 1 defense. I mean, I think the only other team that showed they could compete with that is probably the Breakers, who, like I said, pretty much destroyed the Stars. Houston, I was impressed. I was really impressed by their defense, and they kind of carried their offense, which we don't really see in today's football leagues anymore.
Right. Yeah, and what's so surprising is that Kevin Sumlin, who is the head coach of the Gamblers, is more known for being an offensive guy. So interesting. And I think I actually think that's better for him, that he can actually bring his offense slowly and run the form, because the defense can help them put this offense in better positions to either score or win games, and it's not on them to win. So yeah, that's a good thing. The Monday game, it was the Bandits and the Maulers. It seemed like it was a no contest as early as the end of the first quarter, as the Bandits beat the Maulers and beat down the Maulers 17-3. What did the Bandits do right, and what did the Maulers do wrong?
Well, I think it was fairly obvious if you watch that game, even just through the first half. Kirby Wilson's play calling was nothing short of repetitive. I mean, we literally saw like 10 run plays to open the game, and then it was like when he finally did pass, he was doing the same, similar play calling on the pass plays, and it was, pass, and then they'd go back to the run, and then they'd run the ball a lot. So I think one of the big things that we're seeing is that Kirby Wilson's inexperience in week 1 is already biting him in the butt. He is literally, showing his inexperience as a play caller. He's never called an offense before, and yet here he is in week 1 calling an offense, being the head coach, the general manager. It's just a lot. It's a lot to take on for any coach, and it's a lot for a first-time head coach to take on, to do all of this for the first time. I think he'll settle down as time goes, but I think week 1 was an indication that he might be in over his head a little bit. I ranked them at number 8 prior to the season, But I also said that with a caveat that I think and hope that I want all these coaches to succeed. I would like to see them all back in year 2, because that would be a success in itself for the league. And then as far as the Tampa Bay side of things, Te'amu looked great in that first drive when it was scripted. Right. And then I thought his game kind of fell apart, and I was kind of disappointed, because I expected Te'amu to come into this league and light it up. I expected him to look like a man amongst boys, but that didn't really pan out through week 1. Maybe there's time that it will pan out. I think that he's running a little bit more pro-style offense, so that might be part of the issue here. He had, again, 3 weeks to install the offense. But it'll be interesting to watch going forward. We don't really know, what to think there. I don't know what to think there anyway.
Memo to Kirby Smart. Bill O'Brien tried the same thing in the NFL as you. Please don't. I'm sorry. My bad. Shifting gears into the games of this week, and actually the first of the 4 kicks off tonight. The Panthers and the Generals. What is the keys in that game?
Well, I think the key for the Panthers is like I said before, they really need to figure out that center quarterback exchange. I don't expect it to be as much of an issue as it was last week. But with that being said, on the other side of the field, if they don't slow down Luis Perez, this could get ugly pretty quick, unless Shea Patterson comes out and proves that he deserved that number 1 overall pick. I mean, in week 1, he did not impress. Nor did Paxton Lynch, who actually got the start, which was kind of surprising. So if they can't slow down Perez or get their quarterbacks basically back on track, or I guess competitive at least, this could get to be an ugly game. I think the Generals had mistakes of their own, but it's more simple mistakes to fix than what Michigan had going on in week 1.
All right, so you have a couple of 0-1 teams going matching up against each other. A battle of Pennsylvania, the Maulers and the Stars. What are the keys in this one?
For the keys for Pittsburgh is, like I said before, Kirby Wilson needs to vary up his play calling. I think that in itself would help his offense tremendously. It literally, it doesn't even have to be to the point where he's calling run pass, but just more variation, not 10 runs in a row and then 3 passes. And then on the defensive side of the ball, they are going to have to find a way to get in Brian Scott's face. I think the New Orleans Breakers basically put a template out there for teams that need to defeat the Stars, and it's pass rush. And the Pittsburgh Maulers, believe it or not, have the roster to do so. They're very deep on the defensive line, and they definitely can rotate players and keep their defensive ends fresh and keep those tackles on their toes, or on their heels, sorry. And it'll be interesting to see if the offensive line can rebound after week 1 for Philadelphia, which is going to be their key. If they can't rebound, and Scott's got pressure in his face again all game long, we might actually see Pittsburgh pick up their first win and Philadelphia go into week 3 0-2. I would be seriously disappointed to see that, but right now,
yeah, me too.
It's looking pretty rough if they can't get that offensive line figured out. And then on defense, they had a couple mistakes, but I ultimately think Chandler Stribling is a beast. He played well in week 1, and I think he's quickly becoming the leader of the defense. We just need some more players to kind of step up around him.
Yeah, cool. Will share your disappointment if the Stars go 0-2, since man,
if it's
love Philly.
If it's a Philadelphia professional or semi-professional football team, man, I'm with them.
All right, now going to a battle of 1-0 teams, seemingly the team that seemed to have the most fluid offense, and the Stallions going up against the team that seemed to have the most stout defense, in the Gamblers. What's the key in this one?
You said the Breakers and Gamblers, right?
No, Stallions and Gamblers. I'm sorry.
Stallions and Gamblers. Okay. So in this particular game, I expect Jamar Smith to start. So one of the keys for the Gamblers is going to be to prove that they can stop a mobile quarterback. In week one, they kind of dealt with two guys who are not necessarily known for their running. I guess Paxton Lynch is a little bit mobile, but Jamar Smith is a lot better athlete than either one of those guys. And that could be an interesting thing to watch when it comes to Houston's defense. I still expect them to play well and hold their own. But this is definitely going to be a get-right week for the Houston offense. If they don't make it work, this game could get pretty ugly if, again, their defense doesn't step up and stop Jamar Smith. And then on the other side of the field, Birmingham, it'll be interesting to see how they approach their quarterback situation. Last week we saw Magoo get the start, and then Smith came off the bench and won the game and ended up winning Offensive Player of the Week. So I expect him to get the start this week. I will be interested to see if they let Magoo close out the game, even if it's close. We've seen a lot of these teams play two quarterback systems. I think 5 teams in week one played 2 quarterbacks. And it's one of those things that I want to watch going forward to see if more teams look at 2 quarterback systems to see if, maybe we see a guy who's more focused on passing and then more focused on running like we did with the Generals and Perez and Johnson.
And then the final of the 4 games on tap for the weekend, the Breakers and the Bandits. Seemingly these 2 teams grinded out to their W's. What do you think are the key, or is the key in this one?
Oh, man, this is going to be easily the best game of the weekend. I'm fairly glad that they put it on Monday night to let the anticipation build. I think they kind of planned this ahead of time due to the fact that the Breakers and the Bandits were 2 of the better teams on paper. But as far as the keys for Jordan Te'amu and the Bandits is for Te'amu to get back on track. He cannot be throwing 2 interceptions against the Breakers. If he does, this could end up being a blowout. Kyle Sloter is not the guy who is going to turn around and give you the ball in any situation. He protects the ball. He's one of those guys he's not necessarily a game manager. He's a little bit more talented than that, but he definitely is not a guy who, is a gunslinger. He's not going to be throwing errant passes or anything like that. He makes good decisions. So it's very key that the Bandits don't give the ball away. If they do and they give Sloter more opportunities with the ball, this is going to end up being a Breakers win. And if we see Te'amu anywhere in the 2 turnover ratio, it's most likely going to be a New Orleans win. And for the opposite side of the field, New Orleans' key to the game is to continue that defensive pressure. If Bellamy wreaks havoc like he did in week 1, not only is he going to impress NFL scouts going into the 2022 season, but he's going to easily change the flow of this game. If he's in Te'amu's face, the Bandits are done. There's no chance for them to succeed in this game.
Well, that is Sam Shady of the Shady Sports Network. We'll tell the people where they can find us.
I wanted to add 2 little quick observations I wanted to bring to you, Sam, see what your thoughts on them are real quick. I noticed that through week 1, it looks like the South Division is a little bit superior right now to the North, as all the teams in the North lost the teams in the South. And also, I love the one innovative point about the USFL where they're using the point differential as a tiebreaker. So you see some of the games, if you didn't pay attention to that, if you look at the rankings, they're ranking everyone based on, win-loss, but then also your point differential, either how many points you scored on the team or how few points you lost by. So I thought that was 2 great innovations or 2 great things about the league so far that I've noticed myself.
Absolutely. I really like the point differential aspect of it. I think that's more of a college system. Don't quote me on that. I don't watch a bunch of college football. But, it's definitely one of those things that I thought was a unique wrinkle. The NFL kind of gets convoluted on stuff like that. It's like, oh, well, this guy, this team has a strength of schedule that we projected by some algorithm you've never heard of before, and it's just crazy. This is a lot more clear cut. And to me, I think as a fan, it's important to have those rules be very simple, especially in year one. And I know it sounds kind of goofy. I don't want to say that football fans are dumb. We're not. But you're adapting to a new league, and you don't want to have to relearn football just to follow a new league. At least I don't.
Right.
I watch the Fan Control Football League, which is a stark departure from the NFL game, and it's sometimes even I'm kind of lost to the rules, and I have to kind of recap it. So I think that was one of the big things that the USFL did great, is they stayed close to the NFL product, but still stood apart with like the 3-point options and stuff like that. And then I'm sorry, what was the first part of your question?
No, I was just saying, I noticed that the South Division seems to at this point be a little bit better than the North, as all the Southern Division teams won pretty handily against their North Division opponents in week one.
Absolutely. You are 100% on point with that. The South Division looks like they could run the tables this year. And I expected the Breakers and the Bandits to be good. I knew Houston was going to be like a middle of the pack team, somewhere in that 4 or 5 range. I did not expect Birmingham to be very good. So that ended up being a surprise. But the South Division looks like they're going to be stout this season, and the North is going to have their work cut out for them this year, for sure.
All right, well, this is Sam Shady of the Shady Sports Network. Where can the people find you, sir?
Primarily on YouTube, but we're a little bit of everywhere. In fact, shameless plug here, but tonight I have Birmingham Stallions center Jordan McRae joining me for an interview. If you didn't know who Jordan McRae was, he's the guy who basically helped win the game in week 1. He threw the block for Jamar Smith on the game-winning touchdown. So I have him joining me tonight for an interview. I believe it's 8:30 Eastern time. It's 6:30 p.m. my time. But yeah, like I said, shameless plug there. I would like it if all of you guys joined me and get your questions in for Jordan as well. It's going to be all live. And then basically, like I said, mainly on YouTube. That's what we're trying to push right now. But we're everywhere. Twitter, Reddit, all over the place.
Well, he joins us each and every Friday morning, 8:35 Eastern. It is always a pleasure to have you, Sam. We look forward to talking to you with about week number 2 and break down week number 3 of the USFL. Thank you, Sam.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, Cole. I appreciate it.
No problem. That's Sam Shady, the Shady Sports Network, and we're inside hour number 2 of Snowman in the Morning. Be right back.
I can't do it. We'll do it live. Do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
Mister, will you please wake up?
First and 10. Luck steps up, fires towards the end zone. One-handed catch! Mo Alley Cox!
This is Snowman in the Morning.
Hey, this promises to be fun.
Oh, yeah.
Can't wait.
Are you kidding me? Do you believe it?
This is the fantastic Friday edition of Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson. I am one half of that team, Cole Johnson. The other half is convalescing from cancer surgery. He sends his regards and love to all of you. I am joined today by my man, Cool McCain, as he's hashtag doing it for the dream. He is part of the Play Caller Sports Talk Show. And along with the two of us, I think you're going to have a ball because he is a fan of the Arlington football team. And it is the owner of the BS3 Network, the man who runs BS3 Sports, and just an all-around good guy. I love talking with him, and he gets a chance to chat with us again. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Ben Sutter III. How are you, sir?
Did you say Arlington football team?
Yeah,
yes, he did.
That's where they play. Let's I'm gonna do my that's not what they're called.
Let me say that is the factual name of the team. They are a football team that plays in Arlington.
All right. So this is a good way to begin this. So on your network, you actually have Eagles fans who actually do content on your network.
Quite a few.
So how do you deal, considering you're a Cowboys fan, how do you deal with Eagles fan, and you are a hardcore Cowboys fan.
We talk trash. One guy I've known for a long time, Eric DeWalt. He has a show, Eagles versus Everybody. But yeah, we do prop bets. I lost bets. He lost bets. We talk trash between each other. We always make sure that when the team loses, it's going to be a post, and you're going to be tagged in it. And especially if you lose embarrassingly, and it's going to be worse. So yeah, it's become more even now. We got almost equal Cowboys fans to Eagles fans, so now it's a little bit better. But before it was brutal because the Cowboys go down by 20 or something, or Cowboys end up losing, and I got 4 and 5 next year. So, but it's the NFC least at the end of the day, so it don't really.
Yeah, true. That's true.
I refuse to allow people to address it as the NFC least when the NFC North exists, because they have been habitual trash, except for Green Bay for a long time, and they want to deflect that to us because they don't want people talking about how bad they are.
You have a good point there. You have a real good point there. Andrew, good morning, sir. Everything is fine. I hope you have a good weekend too, my man. Sick. Definitely. Good morning to you, sir. Man, I'm doing fine. I think the other gentleman doing fine, I believe.
Yes, sir. What's up, Sig?
It's Friday.
Sam says, what's up to you, Ben? And he also says, I hope you know, Ben, there's been another person that's going to be tagging you this season.
I'm ready. I take all the smoke. I'm an honest fan. People that don't realize and understand, I am not. My expectations aren't up here. They're probably, you won't be able to see my hands. They're like down here, and hopefully throughout the season they start to rise. But,
okay.
Yeah. See, I've seen you. Like, I've watched some of the shows on your network, right? I've heard you talk about the Arlington football team, and what I will acknowledge is, unlike most of your fans, you don't come out like now saying that y'all gonna win the Super Bowl, right?
Oh God.
I have a lot of fans of your team that's like,
too many.
We're back. I'm a Miami Hurricanes football fan, right? And my fan base acts like your fan base in the offseason. It's like, dude, we haven't done anything in like 20 years.
Right.
Let's first talk about just being a good team consistently before we start talking about the U is bad, the Cowboys are about to win a championship. Like, dude, just calm down.
You start seeing that everywhere.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right. We win one game against East and Middle Tennessee State Community College football team, and everybody's like, "Oh, the U is bad. The U is bad." Like, bro, we're not back yet.
Yeah, I think when the chain came, I think that was like, oh wow, they got something to hype up the players, and they had that swag. But the swag don't equal wins. Swag don't
exactly.
No. Six says, "What's up to you, Wise?" And to your point, Ben, why is it? And I know, cool, you've heard this too. Why is it that you got Cowboys fans that want to always lead with, "Oh, let me do this properly"? You've heard Cowboys fan do this, right? And they would go, quote, "What about Cowboys fan? People want to look at the Cowboys because we grab all the ratings of all the NFL games. The highest rated ones are always Cowboys games." Close quote.
What
do you have to say about that, man?
That annoys me. Jerry is one of these owners. I'm not gonna call him a GM because he's not that. He's one of these owners that more so care about the financial part of it, and to be able to be a brand, which Cowboys are a brand. That's why they're always on TV. That's why Stephen A. always has to do a video. He don't do a video about anybody else in the NFC East. He always do a video with the Cowboys. That's the reason why. It's not because they're a superstar team. It's because they're a superstar product. So when people bring up that whole thing about we're always on TV, so what? Like that really hasn't equaled anything. That's like saying you went 4-0 in the preseason. That don't mean anything. I'm past it. It's annoying. I don't bring that up at all because so what? What do we do when the season's over with? That's the real question.
Right.
Which is right. Sometimes it could be bad, right? If you're always on TV, you're not playing, you're not having a good season.
Right.
then you're giving people who are just haters of your team for no reason, which a lot of people are, right? I have a reason to hate, but a lot of people just hate y'all for no reason. And it just gives them more ammunition because every time you have a bad player, you don't look good in the game, or you lose a game, everybody sees it. So then your inbox is flooded, Facebook is flooded, Instagram is flooded, and it's like, dude, I mean, you're giving them more time than they really deserve. Just calm down.
Right. Yeah. And 2, last year they got that whole bunch of 12 o'clock games. We all know 12 o'clock games are the ones when people still in church. People go watch till 3 o'clock. That's most of the time the game of the week or that Sunday night game. So I mean, like, if you're in a 12 o'clock and you constantly in a 12 o'clock game, that's because they don't want to put you in the Sunday night or the
Sunday afternoon. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Same boat when we were on TV.
Say says good morning to you, Ryan, and good morning to Shady Sports Network. Look, what I will do, I will be a magnanimous host. Cool, you're talking to a Cowboys fan. Whatever you want to ask a Cowboys fan, have at it.
So this is my question for you: who do you think is going to make the playoffs from our division this year?
Cowboys.
Just the Cowboys.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't see any of the other teams having a better record, really. And that's all it's going to come down to.
Okay.
Record.
And who do you think is going to be the best quarterback not named Dak Prescott in our division this year?
That's a really good question.
Yeah. Because obviously Dak is the best quarterback. I mean, let's not even play.
Quarterback division, no question.
Yeah. Let's not play around with it. I have to say, Hurts. I mean, I think going into this next year, I think we're going to see some maturity. I think we're obviously he's the guy, so there's no other question of what else are we doing. So I think I would have to say Hurts. I'm not a Carson Wentz believer, and Danny Dimes,
Captain Kami.
I don't know how in the world this dude got a nickname Danny Dimes when he's not dropping anything.
Well, he's dropping dimes in terms of 10 picks, but
he's dropping dimes when he's tripping over his feet and fumbling. That's about it.
Right. He's dropping dimes to the ground, pretty much.
Right.
You heard me in insulting Commander Carson.
So another question for you, Ben. Do you think that any of the teams in the NFC East are going to lose to Captain Kami himself, Carson Wentz?
The Giants, the only team I would think of. And you almost said the NFC East too. I peeped that. You almost sound like you almost said that.
Yeah, see, man, they trying to reprogram my brain, but I gotta fight them. You know what I'm saying? They try to reprogram us, man, but I'm fighting it.
Oh, man. Six says a lot of these should be left alone. In fact, leave them alone with the rope. Talking about these sycophant fans.
Yeah. Definitely.
Andrew says of the quarterbacks, the best quarterback in the NFC East, not named Dak Prescott, it's Daniel Jones.
Hey man, I mean,
because
you could feel how you want to feel, but I mean, I would pick Walker and Wentz before Daniel Jones, and I think everyone here knows how I feel about Carson Wentz.
Yes. You're not the biggest fan of him. And I wonder why.
Yeah. Let's do that softness, man. Has to do a lot with that softness. Now, Ben, one last question for you after this, and then I'll turn the show back over to Cole.
I'm ready. Hot fire.
So this one, my question is simply this: of the NFC teams, who do you think has the best defense?
That's a good question. I would have to actually go with. I have to say the Eagles. If everything's clicking on all fronts, I would have to go with you guys. Okay. I definitely wouldn't say the Cowboys got turnovers, but we could see what turnovers and defense is not the same thing, because when you got to make stops, don't make stops.
Well, I mean that's what a lot of Cowboys fans bragged on last year with their defense.
they did.
Yeah.
They were great because they were able to get turnovers.
Because turnovers are exciting. I mean,
they're definitely. Yeah.
You look at the, they were having the Pro Football Focus talking about Trayvon Diggs and the amount of yards that he gave up compared to the picks. The picks was great, but again, the defense. I believe in that defense wins championships. And where were we at the Super Bowl? Watching it from the couch. So,
yeah, good point.
As were we.
Yeah. Andrew with the Daniel Jones when he said he was just joking. He couldn't say it with straight face, or at least not yet.
I was gonna say
I didn't think he was saying it with straight face either. Ryan says,
definitely didn't believe that.
No. Ryan says the Cowboys will win the NFC East by default, but if the Eagles get a receiver to help Jalen, they could make a run as well. I agree with that, Ashley.
I'm hoping, man. I'm really, really hoping in the draft. Just get one of these guys, man. Don't overthink it.
Right.
Just go out and get the best player on the field. How we don't do any stupendous. I'm going to get the 7th best player because I think he's better than the 2nd-ranked player. Don't be Howie. As a matter of fact, somebody just give him a sedative and let everybody else make the picks this year. How about we just do that? And that way I don't have to be on edge until the pick is named. Like last year, y'all, I'm telling you. So 2 years ago, we did our first draft show. So we're doing a draft show. I'm sitting there watching. Y'all get CeeDee Lamb. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's a good pickup for Dallas. That's taken away from, the wide receiver. For everybody know we need a wide receiver. So picks coming. I'm just going through the picks. Like, don't pick Justin Jefferson. Don't pick Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson is sitting there on a pedestal, presented to us. Just take it. The man himself was like, yo, I'm expecting to go to Philadelphia, right? My phone rings. I'm thinking the Eagles are calling me. It was the Vikings. We go up to that pedestal. They say, I don't even want to say the name. They say Jalen Reagor.
Jalen Reagor.
Y'all. On the show, it was me and another Eagles fan that were on our draft show. My co-host was a 49ers fan. This guy busted out laughing as soon as he looked at my face. Now, I try to be professional, like when I do the stuff. Like I'm not one to be on cussing and all that. Like, I'll yell and act a fool a little bit, but I'm not on cussing and all that.
Right.
I literally had to just do this for like 3 minutes. Like I
couldn't even say anything.
I couldn't say anything. I couldn't I was in the worst negative shock of my life.
Been there, bro. Been there.
I don't even know who Jalen Reagor. Like he wasn't on my draft board. He wasn't somebody I was wanting the Cowboys to pick. So I'm like, well, maybe they got a hidden secret or something.
I don't even think the Eagles knew who Jalen Reagor was.
His dad played for the Eagles for like 2 years or something back in the day. And I'm like, that's not what you use to make draft picks.
No. Sam says softness, loving it from Carson Wentz. The jab, cool.
Oh, always.
He also says that Traylon Burks is a wide receiver that the Eagles should look for, and we will definitely be competing for the NFC East crown this year.
All I know is it cannot be another Nelson Aguilar or Jalen Reagor type player. Let's go out and get a guy that's got some size, can come in. I don't care about the route running. As a matter of fact, he can learn that.
Yeah.
Big, can go up and get the ball. We'll work on the other stuff.
Yeah. Physical.
Yes. That's what we need. We need a Goddard at wide receiver.
Yeah, I agree. If he's a physical guy and he has the tools to learn how to do routes, I think that's what the Eagles should do because that would help out.
Pascal can run routes. You know, Devontae Smith can run routes. You tell him, give him 3 or 4 routes. Like, this is what you run when you're on the field.
Mm-hmm.
And let's go.
Mm-hmm. 6 says, cool. Glad it wasn't Snowman in the morning with Cole Johnson because Snowman, given he's a 49ers guy, probably wouldn't have liked that. Sam says, only person anywhere that I heard talk about Jalen Reagor before the draft was Gate City Sports Talk. Wow.
I called him out by name.
I wasn't talking about him. I was.
He must.
I was like, "There's no way we're gonna do this."
He must have been one of those combine guys. Who was like, "Whoa, he ran a 4 or whatever." It was like, "Who is that guy?"
That's the thing. He wasn't like he didn't stand apart at the combine, right? Either. So I read a bunch of articles after we signed him, hopeful. I knew there was no reason to be, but hopeful. And I was like, because apparently he was at TCU. He had a really good year 2 years ago, the year before he was drafted, not the year he was drafted. And then they had a quarterback change, and the quarterback wasn't very good, so that's why he didn't put up yards. So we're making an excuse for a guy that we drafted in the first round. That's when I was like, I'm done. This is going to suck. And we're going to be back here next year. And, of course, we were.
All right, shifting gears, considering that you live in the Metroplex, how is the city receiving the Mavericks now this year as they actually are a viable Western Conference contender?
The city's beyond excited, man. Obviously, Luka didn't play, but I think this, and I was listening to what Cool was saying about how being able to distribute the ball is different when Luka's not there. But the city is beyond excited to be able to be in the playoffs, but also in the fight in the playoffs as well. It's different if you just in and you actually competing. But I think the hire of Jason Kidd was huge, and this whole the excitement of this whole thing. But yeah, it's crazy. But there are some homers that just think, well, we can win and we can do anything. I'm one of those. You got to show me when it's time to show up, which I think they've done pretty well. I think I was a little skeptical on Spencer Dinwiddie, but anything it was better than Porzingis.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have said
that was
this.
Not gonna work.
Yes, I have said this on this show. Porzingis is a prime example of him leaving the Mavericks as addition by subtraction.
Yeah.
Jalen
Brunson, which I knew this when he was playing at Villanova, he just has that gritty type play that you can't coach. It's just it's in his DNA. His dad played in the league, so for him to do what he's doing now, I'm not necessarily surprised. I just think he needed the opportunity in the space, and he's got both of those right now. So it's going to be interesting to see when Luka comes back, if he does come back throughout this series, because that'll be interesting to see with both of them on the floor, how they're going to be able to mesh with Jalen kind of having a little bit of a rise.
Cool actually said in the first hour that the possibility of Luka being back in the lineup probably could gum up the works, considering that Jalen's cooking right now.
Yeah.
Do you think it could be that case, considering that Luka probably has that James Harden circa 2018 disease?
I definitely think it could be some issues there, but I think that trying to get to the common goal, which is win a championship, which I believe both of them want, I think they'll be able to figure it out. I mean, they played all year, but yeah, Luka definitely has that. I'm gonna shoot again. That's Luka, but I think they'll be able to figure it out.
Yeah, if Luka figures that out, man, he's one of the players I do like. He's one of the young players I like because he's exciting. It's just, and he's not the only one. Don't get me wrong. So if anybody thinks like I'm just talking about Lucas, a lot of the young guys, Donovan Mitchell needs to work on that some more. A lot of these young players need to work on understanding. Let me get my team involved a little bit first, then let me cook. Don't let me just come out and cook, and then say, "Oh, now I need you to make a big shot in the third quarter." But I've been, a black hole for the ball for most of the game. Like, just get your teammate involved. Set some guys up, sometimes make the drive and the kick and do the things that help your team be successful. And that's why I think that, they'll get better, obviously. They'll get better at it. They won't stay the same, but just that's the piece where I'm kind of like, that's what needs to happen.
Yeah. I think so, too. The team ball is what wins. I mean, if we haven't learned anything over these past 10 years, team ball is what is winning. You look at the Warriors and what they're doing, that's team ball. It's not, obviously we know Steph and Clay, but you see how Jordan Poole's getting involved. You see how some of these other players are getting involved, and that's what wins. Even that championship team with the Mavs, that was team ball. Obviously, Dirk was the best player on the team, but you had the Sean Stevensons of the world. You had Brian Cardinals and all these guys that played these roles. And I think that's what I think some of these young players need to understand. And I think Jay Kidd is definitely doing that for them.
Yeah.
He's huge. The Lakers are not happy with you guys, by the way, because that was their coaching waiting. Man ain't gonna wait but so long though. Yeah, give him the job if you want him.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Andrew says Dinwiddie is good. Kind of wish the Nets still had him. I know the Nets wish they still had him. No question. And 6 says, who was the most hard-headed in the NBA this season?
I still think it's always Draymond Green as long as he plays.
That's a good one.
That is a good one.
I would say Harden. Harden.
Oh, that's a good one too.
Yeah,
that's a good one too.
As long as he's in the league, he's gonna do his thing.
All right, I know you. I know that you have to go real soon, but I'll ask this question before you do go. All right, Ben. So, if the Mavericks were to, and I think they will win the series against the Jazz, if they were to beat the Jazz and go on to the conference semifinals, more than likely they would be playing either the Suns, but it now looks like it might be the Pelicans. I would ask the question, which team would you rather? But I don't think that I have to ask you that question.
Yeah, I'm gonna answer that by default. Yeah.
But the question I really do want to ask you is, do you think they can take the play they have had the first 3 games of this series and transfer it into the next round and later rounds should they advance further?
Yeah, I think they can for sure. I think when it comes to 3-headed monster type teams that have multiple talented players, I don't think they'll be able to definitely necessarily compete with them. But I think they can push this thing, as far as they can do it. And I think that's the difference between Jason Kidd and Carlisle. Carlisle was like so stuck in his ways. This is how I'm gonna do things. This is how I've won in the past. I'm not gonna play young players. I'm gonna be like a jerk all the time. I mean, that's the difference between these two. I think his style kind of just got outplayed, Carlisle. But I think the way Kidd is, he's able to really put the matchups together. So I think they could go as far as they're willing to put in the effort to go. Do I think they're going to make it to the conference finals? No. Do I think they're going to win a championship this year? No. I think they're still a couple of players and years away from that. I think they can do it, but obviously in this NBA, you're going to need you're definitely going to need a 1A, which Brunson could be that if he continues to be that type of player. The way he's been playing, he's about to get paid. So I don't know if Cuban's ready to write that check or not.
I actually, and I agree with you on that. Actually, I do have one more question to ask you before I let you go. Do you see Deebo Samuel being a Cowboy?
Definitely. Cap, what they also so they call him Cap Boy here, and Stephen Jones they
not
call
Cap Boy.
Cap Boy because it's not happening. Like that's the thing. Everyone from the outside says the Cowboys are looking at this player. The true Cowboys fans know it's not going to happen. Right. They're not, number one, they're not going to pay him.
Right.
And number two, I don't see them. They're not big in free agency. They pick the second tier guys, hoping that they pan out. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. So no, I would be extremely shocked if Deebo was in the Cowboys uniform next year.
All right. Well, sir, I did mention a couple of your programs that you do put on BS3 Network. Where can people find you?
Yeah, definitely. So at BS3 Network, all avenues of social media. I'm the one that runs it. Ben Sutter III on Facebook, and BS3 TV on Roku, which we're live on right now. A lot of great content. But yeah, reach out to me on any of those platforms.
This man, I've known him 6 years. Love him like a brother. Ben, as always, thank you, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah, appreciate you. Love coming on, chatting it up with you guys. Appreciate you too, Cool.
Yeah, you too, man. I definitely be checking you out, man. You got some good content on the network for sure.
Yeah, he does. He definitely does. Does.
Appreciate it. Check out Cool tonight too at 7, right?
Yes, sir. PlayCallerSportsTalk.com, baby.
Look at
that.
I'm
getting it.
Look at that. Thank you again, Ben.
All right, no problem. Appreciate it.
Right. That is Ben Sutter III. the owner of the BS3 Network, and he does BS3 Sports as well. Love that show. A quick break, and when we return, we might enter the Boomshakalakah, or we might talk about LeBron's biggest fan. I think I have to talk about him after this.
I'm always down.
This is Snowman in the Morning.
Listen, you're my friend.
I noticed you haven't really been yourself recently.
Yeah, I feel like something's up.
How are you?
Are you okay?
Is there anything you want to talk about?
I just want to know how you're feeling.
And listen, even if you don't know what to say, I'm here to talk.
No matter what you're going through,
I just want you to know I'm here.
I've got your back. When you want to talk, I'm here.
You're so right for me, and I'm right for you. I love the things you do, like sweet tasting wine. Your lips are so divine. Your loving turns me on. My lonely days are gone. That's why I'm never gonna let you go. Never gonna let you go, babe. I'm never gonna let you go. No, no, never gonna let you go.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey guys, it's me, Isabella Gomez, filling in for Smokey Bear because he's got more to say than just...
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Like, if you're outside enjoying a barbecue, don't let a hamburger distract you from fire safety. Make sure you aren't dumping your hot coals or ashes onto the ground because that could start a wildfire. So take wildfire prevention seriously and let's save the world one day at a time. Juntos con Smokey Bear, podemos hacerlo. Go to smokeybear.com to learn more about wildfire prevention.
Mister, how do you operate this Twitter thing or this Instagram thing or whatever the heck? You're supposed to know all this stuff. Anyway, welcome back to the show.
Well, Dr. K, you can reach us at official SIT Morn. That is like you reach us on Twitter and on Instagram. That's official SIT Morn. Welcome back to Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson. I'm one half of that team, Cole Johnson. The other half is convalescing from cancer surgery, doing well. He says hello to everybody. Joining me is Cool McCain, and also joining us, because it is the second half of hour number 2 on a Friday, so that means we have to enter the Boomshakalakah. Mr. Chris Bass joins us. Sir, how are you doing?
Oh man, good morning, gentlemen. How you doing?
I cannot complain, sir. All right, so I normally have to roll out the red carpet and just go into what is in the mind of Chris Bass as of right now.
Well, you don't want to get into the mind of Chris Bass because you'll get lost. So you have to be very careful about that. It's like proceed with caution. In the bowels of my mind, not the lower half of me, but the bowels of my mind get very, very tricky. So once again, proceed with caution. I wanted to go on the whole thing about Kyrie Irving. It gets on my nerve because I think sometimes people forget that, well, they're human beings.
Right.
And you can only take so much. Let me read this real quick from SportsIllustrated.com about Kyrie Irving. So Irving was fined, as we all know by now, $50,000, the maximum allowed under the NBA's collective bargaining agreement, for making obscene gestures and using profanity to fire back at the fans at Boston's TD Garden during the Nets' Game 1 loss to the Celtics on Sunday. That incident came just 9 months after a Celtics fan was arrested for throwing a water bottle at Irving.
Right.
One in a series of incidences after the NBA began allowing fans back into arenas after the COVID-19 pandemic. Hawks star Trae Young was spit or spat, and you want to call it any way you want to, still spit, on by a fan in New York during the playoffs. Russell Westbrook, who at the time was with the Wizards, was pelted with popcorn during a game in Philadelphia. Both of those fans were later banned from the games, as were 3 fans in Utah who verbally harassed the family of Grizzly star John Morant. You know what bothers me when, first of all, I have no problem with what Kyrie Irving did back to the fans in Boston. I have no problem with that. He probably had his checkbook out. Look, he won't miss it. It's $50,000. He could lose that in his sleep. Yeah. So it's not a problem. I don't mind him doing it. Here's what people don't understand. I've never been to Boston a day in my life, but working in the industry, you have people who were from Boston or worked in Boston. Right. They told me probably one of the most racist cities ever, first and foremost. And when I saw in real time when Kyrie did that, I harken back to the following story. So Celtics great Bill Russell, the greatest of all time. When he was drafted by the Boston Celtics, he lived in a suburb of Boston. And during this time, his home was ransacked and pillaged by white racist men. Yeah. They went through all of his trophies and mementos and personal items, obviously, and they urinated and defecated in his bed. He had every right at that moment, you know what? I'm out of here. You couldn't blame him. But he did not take that from the standpoint of every Boston fan or anybody in the Boston area being racist, just that one incident. And look how many championships that man brought to Boston.
The one thing I've always, I won't say disliked, but not liked as much about the Celtics and Boston in general is that, yes, when they were amassing all those championships, that city as a whole went crazy, Google and gaga over the Bruins. And even the rest of us to a smaller degree than they did the Celtics. And the Celtics were the most successful professional franchise in that area at the time. And it was all due to the perception that the team was black, led by Bill Russell.
Look, you could check the records for itself. Boston didn't really start winning championships till they drafted Bill Russell and his cohort, Casey Jones, from the University of San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
When they got those two were the centerpieces, especially Bill, that they were built around to win the championships. Bob Cousy and everybody else that came along, Havlicek and everybody else down the road. But that core of Bill Russell and Casey Jones really was the antithesis of their championship build.
Yeah. So yeah, no, doesn't surprise me. And as far, before I continue, Six says, it comes as no surprise that the league hasn't learned from the malice in the palace back in 2004. The league has to protect the players on the court. Yeah, they do. And I think they do a bad job of it, in my personal opinion.
Definitely.
Well, you know what happens, again, they're human. And you can only take, first of all, we just stay in the obvious. It's not like you're playing baseball. It's not like you're playing football where the fans have some distance away from the field, or we're talking about right on top of you, like right behind you. on the court there in NBA arenas, and they do the foulest things. This is the difference between being a fan and a fanatic.
Right.
And the fanaticism that grows just because you pay your ticket does not give you the right to call me the N-word.
Oh, heck no. Not even a question. I agree with that. Well, yeah, with that being said, to break the tension a bit, we want the bass. Give us the bass. Oh, we need the bass.
Oh.
Gotta have that
Gotta
bass.
have that bass.
Oh. Don't get me started, man. I'm a funketeer by birth. You know,
nothing wrong with that.
Oh, look, man. You know,
None at all.
I always appreciated funk. Funk is like one of my first genres back in the day when we had albums. And I'm like, what the hell is an album? Well, go Google it like anything else and find out for yourself. Record players
I know
and
what
things
album
like
is too.
Oh man, look, you can throw in some record players or even 8-tracks. I go back with that as well. So, but the album in particulars were the fact that it told a story, had great artwork to it. It was like, like a comic book within the album itself sometimes.
Yeah.
And the funkiest to me was always George Clinton. Whatever they were smoking, I don't want to even get near that. I don't want to get. I mean, one of my favorite albums is the Motor Booty Affair, but Goddamula. I mean, you're talking about the mind that comes out of somebody who's high. I mean, ooh wee, you can't get more high than George Clinton and Parliament Funkadelic, man. Those brothers and sisters, ooh wee, and paid them in weed. That once upon a time ago. You see a documentary. I had to send it to you guys one day. Man, look, they got to a point where they were interviewing the band members. And one guy, he said, well, how you doing these days? I ain't doing too good, to be honest with you, man. George screwed me over. And then went to other band members, and he screwed me over too. Everybody said screwed me over like it was like 5 different band members in a row.
Right.
Because he paid him with weed. It must be some hellified weed, but I like money. No offense.
Yeah.
I buy my own weed if I did smoke.
Oh, my gosh.
The stuff he was buying them, though, it may have gotten more than the money's worth.
Oh, my God.
Man, I'm telling you, this shoot, you could be a talented person, you still be a cheap SOB.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
I love George, but everybody talking about they want to beat his ass.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in fact, I think that was the same charge that people said about James Brown too. That he was rather cheap and did not pay his band as well. Yeah, crazy.
What's funny? I talked to a brother and he was in radio and he used to work for James Brown. He did mornings at one of James Brown's radio stations in the South, like in Mississippi. And so he told me the story of when Mr. Brown, as they called him, because that was the owner, had come by the radio station, and the engineer at the radio station got into a horrible accident, and he pretty much had jacked up his left foot. Almost his whole leg was almost severed in the accident. And so Mr. Brown was like, "Hey, young man, what's wrong with you?" Well, I got into accident, Mr. Brown, a couple of days ago, but I'm doing all right now. I'm getting on the good foot. And because of that, James went back home, wrote getting on the good foot, gave the money to the engineer to have his operation.
See? Look at that.
Yeah.
Nice. 6 says, to y'all's point about fans or fanatics, who remembers the movie The Fan with Wesley Snipes and Robert De Niro? I remember that movie.
Read my mind. Yeah, that was scary.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah, two of my favorite actors, but De Niro, get that weird crap on you. Don't get me wrong, he's always played that gangster tough role, but now he's doing that freaky, I want to be a baseball player I never was. And remember the scene they were out by his house because he saved his son's life out in the ocean, and he let him try on some of his baseball jerseys, and they went out back on the sand on the beach, and he gave him the heat and everything else. And look at De Niro's face. He's like, look, I can bring it. He was like, oh, that's enough of that, because you get a little bit too serious, doctor. So, yeah, that type of fanaticism that crosses the line is very dangerous.
Yeah. Yeah. And to your point about Kyrie, look, I had no issue with him throwing Bird at Celtics fan. I mean, to me, both were justified from the standpoint, not the bottle. That was justified.
Yeah.
Right.
But Celtics fan was justified because Kyrie said the year before he left Boston, well, I'm going to be Boston. I'm going to be a Celtic for the rest of my life. Mm-hmm. And then the next year he decides to bolt and go to Brooklyn. So as a fan, I get why Celtics fans they just simply have nothing to do with Kyrie. And Kyrie, hearing that and hearing Kyrie sucks and F Kyrie, I think he was like, okay, well, all right, I'll give you these buckets and I'll give you this middle finger. I'll show you that I'm number one, but I'll show you the one that you all are. And I don't feel that problem. That's him. That's cool. And if he has 50,000 to spend, which I believe he does, so be it.
Well, you just have to react sometimes. I mean, look, I think sometimes with the NBA in particular, it's a catch-22. For example, they preach about brotherhood and family, and you're supposed to look after each other. And well, you should, because you're a team, also a family.
Right.
But yet, if your brother's outside on the court getting his ass kicked or elbowed or things like that, you sit there and take it, twiddle your thumbs? No, you get to a point where it's like, you call the ref. The ref always turn around and sees the aftermath. Now what happened. That's why, thank goodness for remote, viewing, and check out, what happened in real time. I'll go back and check it out, the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
But when you look at your brother getting his ass kicked and everything, and a melee happens, you want to protect your family. Right. But yet you get fined for protecting your brother. See, it's a catch-22. You can't have it both ways, but that's what the league does. They tell you about all this brotherhood crap, and then you go, you would never sit back and watch your brother get his ass kicked unless you owe your brother $50. Kick his ass for me and get that $50 I get that I need back. But other than that, it bothers me because it should be, I understand about rules. I get it. But if someone is telling you one thing and then you react and you're fined for it, I understand, but I think it's a catch-22.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
Like with Kyrie, man, it goes back the year they made the playoffs and had a deep run when he was injured. You had a lot of fans, a lot of media in the Boston area talking about they didn't need Kyrie. And, Kyrie's a very sensitive individual, and people need to understand that and remember that. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, he shouldn't have said, I'm going to be a Celtic forever, because Kyrie doesn't stay anywhere. But, I think that really hurt him, deep down, because he felt like, man, y'all just going to push me to the side because I'm not playing. And I think he remembered that. And when he got the opportunity to get out, and I'll be honest with you, man, the funniest thing about it all is I was remembering, because it was actually here in Charlotte where I live at the All-Star game, where him and KD was dapped up, and he looked in KD's eyes like he was in love, and KD was looking at him like he was in love. I was like, them boys is going to get together. You know what I'm saying? They going to play together. They going to make this happen.
Yeah, and look what happened. Yeah, you're right.
But you have to understand about feelings. I'm sorry. Go and do your thing with the click.
Oh, no. Oh, I was going to say, BS3 Network says George Clinton was on that good weed. No, go ahead.
He was, and still is.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely still is. Oh, what was your point, sir?
Good for him. I was saying that the ego is always fascinating to me. So let's go back. Let's go back in the time.
Okay.
When, so I live in Chicago. So I always grew up with all these great Chicago players. Back in the day, we have a university here called Chicago State University. And I used to go to their basketball camp when I was a mere youth. And then in the summer, they had the summer league games where you had the pros, high schoolers, and some grammar school, not a lot, all play together in summer league. So you had back in the day Isaiah Thomas and Mark Aguirre, Terry Cummings, and even Maurice Cheeks of Philadelphia 76ers came by one year after they won the championship that year. So we really saw some great players in for free during that time. Mm-hmm. So Isaiah always felt that when he came back, playing for Detroit, obviously, the Bulls and everything, to play, he was, everybody loved him, which they did, until Michael Jordan came along.
Right.
And then he has this disdain for Jordan because, look, you're from here, but we're homers. We love our Chicago Bulls.
Yeah. Jordan took his city. Yeah.
So look, man, it happens all the time. Mm-hmm. So you can't be salty about that. But some people have their own beefs or what pisses them off or rubs them the wrong way. And that was definitely one of them. It made for an interesting rivalry to watch it in real time between Detroit and Chicago, man. Those years were brutal. And I hated Detroit. And I hated Bill Laimbeer, and I still hate him. Those guys were just, don't be wrong. I give Laimbeer credit. Laimbeer was one of the first centers I saw shoot three-pointers. which is everyday thing. Now you see your bigs taking 3-pointers.
Right.
Okay, I give you that. Other than that, you're crap.
Yeah. Oh well.
It was a rivalry. No, I didn't want to go out there and kick his ass. But I take that back. But my point is, yeah, let me. I don't want to lie. You know, if I could put him in the figure 4 leg lock, get away with it. Oh yeah, yeah, that would have been it. But yeah, a couple of hits to the dome with the fist there. Yeah, fist of fury. Yeah, that would have been it, Doctor. There been 2 hits. 1 hit to his face, and he hits the floor.
Hit the floor.
That's right.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that let me not fantasize about Ben Lambert getting his butt whooped. All right. Sick asks you, Base. Have you seen the series Tales from the Tour Bus? It's on HBO Max currently.
Tales from the Tour Bus. Is that the animated one from Mike Judge? Let me see if he responds to that. Because that I've probably seen it before.
I haven't watched it yet, but it's in my list.
Now, is that animated?
Oh yeah, if you can answer that. If you can answer that for us. Yeah. Oh, and Sick also says to BS3 Network, I said, I remember Bootsy Collins calling George Clinton the minister of mouth since he scared a lot of the groupies back in the day. Hence, he was getting none. Like, oh no.
How can you not get none?
That's messed up.
Wow. That's crazy.
That's insane. I hope it's
yeah.
So
I hope that's just a rumor.
Yeah, that has to be a rumor. Come on, I'm sorry, you had to get some.
Yeah.
Yes, it's animated. Yeah, right. So Mike Judge, right. So Mike Judge, who created King of the Hill and Beavis and Butthead, did this whole animated series of various artists over the years that were touring on bus and the stories that their bandmates would talk about. I did see that. It used to come on Epics at one point. But yeah, that was a fantastic series. It dealt with George Clinton, Rick James, even going back to Jerry Lee Lewis. So it's a good series.
Yeah. But wait, hold on. So you mean to tell me George Clinton gave his band a lot of weed, but no juice box? That's not cool. That's not cool. That's not cool.
Hey man, every time anybody talks about Rick James, I just think about Dave Chappelle, bro. Like it just automatically happens, bro. So that's why I'm over here giggling, bro. Because I just it just pops in my head.
He changed the game with that skit, man.
Bro, that was that was funny, bro. I mean, I gotta go watch it now.
Oh yeah.
Lord. Six says, speaking of Boston, Bill Laimbeer and Larry Bird will never bury the hatchet. Well, I think Larry will bury the hatchet, but he wants to do it across the head of Bill Laimbeer or his back.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. Bird does not like Laimbeer to this day.
I didn't like Bird. I mean, I remember watching the games back in the day, like on CBS Sports. And what I didn't like about CBS Sports back in the day was their broadcasters, the majority of the color commentators were Boston Celtics former greats.
Yes, they were.
So it was Bill Russell and Tommy Heinsohn, those guys and everything else. Every time they played Boston, there was a foul on Larry Bird. Well, it wasn't that much of a foul. I mean, come on, man. You talk about homing, being homers. And now being homers, you're lying.
Man, if they ever put Tony Romo in the booth with Troy Aikman, you can count me out.
Well, thankfully, since both are color guys, you won't see that happen.
Yeah, I'm just saying that would be the football equivalent of what you're talking about, because they would be when the Cowboys game came on, the Cowboys would do no wrong.
B, you're right about that. Now I'm thinking about it back in the day. Bill Russell tried his best. He tried his best to be not partial. He tried his best.
You can't. You're one of the greatest players of all time. You won 10 to 12 championships. You've also were a player coach.
Yeah,
so how can you right? So how can you sit there and say, well, the Boston Celtics not doing too good? No, you helped create the dynasty. So look, if they had like what they do now is a whole separate Homer broadcast, certain areas of sports. It was all Boston Celtics broadcasting. I give you that. Don't put them on a national stage because it's not right. And speaking of national stage, I cannot. I know hate's a strong word, but God damn it, I'm going to use it. I can't stand. I hate Joe Buck.
Oh no. Okay. All right.
Yes.
I'll lay out and ask a question. I know you make it cool happy. Why do you have a disdain toward one Joseph Buck?
Joe Buck is okay. I'll put it like this. So remember you back in high school, and everybody had their, colloquial sex, sect from the standpoint of the cool people over there, quote unquote cool people, and the gang members, and the ne'er-do-wells, and the, parent Poindexters. Mm-hmm. Then there were the ones who tried to be cool. They tried. They kind of manufacture it, and it went over like a fart in church. You just never stuck the landing. And Joe Buck creates this. I want to be cool, but you're not. You're a ne'er-do-well. You're a punk, and you just don't have personality. It's all manufactured to the point where I can't even take it. I don't know how. Look. Don't be wrong. You do things for a reason. So now they're over at ESPN. There'll be a Monday Night Football. Him and Troy Aikman. Okay, I got it. But man, I'll probably have to tune into. I don't know. I'll probably do my own color commentary myself watching Monday Night Football because I cannot take him. I just no dice.
That is.
I would rather hear you than Joe Buck, sir, any day. I concur in everything that you have just said because Joe Buck to me is turn the volume down and watch the game and do my own commentary or call some of the fellas and we just kind of do our own commentary. I can't do it.
Well, I guess ESPN is going to hate you all because on Monday nights, that is who's going to be doing the play-by-plays. Joe Buck. Wow.
Oh, hell. There has to be a God. No, come on now.
6 says, Cole, Bill Laimbeer is a Bostonian by birth. The city of Boston has another reason to hate him. Here's the funny thing about that. So, Laimbeer is Bostonian by birth, but he grew up in Chicago.
That's right.
And the two biggest rivals in his career are the Celtics and the Bulls.
Well, see, I had to put Bill Laimbeer and Joe Buck in what I call my rap bastard categories.
Oh no.
Yeah, they get no love whatsoever. I'm sorry. The world would be better without those two people walking the earth. I mean, no offense. I mean, you're taking up space.
No.
And so people like that, I mean, just expire. Just expire, man. It's like, and you don't. I don't mean to, but sometimes I pray to a baby Jesus. 6 pounds 7 ounces. And I try my best to, not to go there, but it's like you shouldn't even be here.
That's the only thing I can say right now.
Damn!
Yeah.
My eyes are wet, man.
It's the damnedest of shame.
Oh Lord, I think someone cut an onion in this room. Oh my God. Why does your hatred for Troy Aikman too? Why does it go that deep for the both of them?
I could take Troy. I could take Troy, but the dude sitting next to him, hell nope. Hell nope.
Oh my gosh.
Dude, I mean, just irritating. That whole thing about taking your fingernails on the chalkboard, that type of stuff. He got that. I would probably I'll take that over Joe Buck.
I think I'm with you.
Yeah, I'll
I think I'm with you.
Any day of the week.
So I heard, I think it was back in the mid-90s. I heard a broadcast that they actually did this, which is absolutely funny. They had Terry Bradshaw and Jimmy Johnson call a game. And it was a train wreck and a half. But it was entertaining because it was such a train wreck. Mm-hmm. Would you take that over Joe Buck and Troy Aikman?
Yeah, I would take that. I forgot another person in the rap bastard category. Screaming A. Smith. So those three dudes. No, I can't. That's the Three Stooges for me. I can't do it.
Oh, doggone, I missed the third. So Joe Buck, Stephen A. Smith. Who's the other one?
And Bill Laimbeer.
Oh yeah, Bill Laimbeer. I forgot.
Yeah. Three Stooges.
Oh, I forgot. Yeah, Bill Laimbeer's on site for you. I forgot about that. Okay.
Screaming A. Smith. I love it.
Screaming A. Smith. Can't do it, man.
Yeah, he's a character at this point. He's not even like a real reporter. He's just a character. He's just a character.
And I treat him as such. Right. And I treat him as such. Yeah. Like I don't really think of him as a reporter. I treat him as, or even a columnist. I treat him as an entertainer because that's what he is now.
He's not even entertaining. It's just because you scream does not make you right.
He's not an entertainer.
He's not entertaining. He's not.
He's entertaining.
Well, let's just say he is. It's funny to see how what's the word I want to say? Wrong. He seems to be much of the time, and I find that to be entertaining.
It's a lot of wrong. That's true.
Yeah,
it's too much wrong. I mean, look, I ain't gonna sit here in front. I do watch First Take, but I have to recalibrate my thinking. Mm-hmm. I like Molly as a great moderator, and then the fluctuation of various guests that come in there throughout the week, and then some other guy over there with the Screaming A. Smith. That's how I had to recalibrate. I can't put him up front. He's just over there screaming as usual, and trying to make everybody deem that he's almighty right. He's like Dean, Big Brother Almighty Righty, and then everybody else is wrong.
Oh no, I haven't heard that in a minute.
Dean, so in other words,
Big Brother Almighty.
In other words, he's not David Ruffin. He's the Temptations.
That's the insult to the Temptations, Doc. Look, you know what he is. About reference to that. He is the microphone stand. That's it. That's it.
That's cold blooded.
Aaron Wright is cold blooded.
That's cold blooded.
Rick James, cold blooded. Exactly. Holy smokes, and Jesus.
No Lord, cold blooded.
Yeah.
No, Lord. Six is cold and base. Does that explain why Lane Beer wore the face mask? It might be. He might have feared someone was going to actually just dim his lights. Probably in either city.
I wish somebody had cracked his skull just once. Just once. As my man Bernie Mac said, to the white meat show. Yeah, just once.
To the white meat.
Just crack him on the noggin and see that split and the white meat show. Now that's entertainment. Now that's entertaining. I'll take that any day of the week.
He said bust him to the white meat.
That's right.
Oh my
white
gosh.
Meat. Hey.
Lord have mercy. You are a fool, man. All right.
Mr. Bates, you do not disappoint. I catch you in the comments a lot.
Oh,
boy, you do not disappoint. You do not disappoint.
Thank you, my brother. It means a lot to me. Yeah, I've embraced my insanity years ago.
Okay, so all right, so touch on Stephen A. I'm sorry, Screaming A for a sec.
There you go.
So when did your
disdain, hatred?
The perfect word was disdain.
Yes.
When did your disdain for him begin, and how did it begin?
Well, first of all, in the beginning, when I used to watch him on ESPN2 back in the day, let's call for what it is. He wouldn't be where he is had it not been for the unfortunate death of Stuart Scott.
Unfortunately,
if Stuart Scott would have stayed alive, you wouldn't have seen the emergence of a Screaming A. Smith. I mean, that's just how I take it. And only because of the fact that they were looking for new stars and new people to be on the network, I understand the promotion. Because really, back in the day, he really wasn't that bad, going back to Stephen A. Smith. But when he reinvented himself and became Screaming A. Smith, what did it for me was when they signed to the big contract. I don't mind anybody getting their bag. You do what you got to do. But when he started to do radio, which was horrendous. Now, mind you, I've been doing radio for 30 years, so this dude stunk up the joint. I mean, he couldn't do it, which is why they had to cut it and revamp the whole ESPN radio lineup because they wanted to, look, he was the star, he was doing First Take, and he did his radio show and everything else. So they stretched him all over the place because they got to, obviously compensate for what he was doing. But the radio show got me because I'm a radio man first and foremost. And I'm listening to this Mother Hubbard, and all he does is scream. Yeah. And then as a program clock, he would take calls 5 minutes to the top of the hour. That's bull crap.
Oh, no.
That's bull crap because he couldn't do it. He would have guests on. He was kind to his guests. He didn't give his guests any crap.
Right.
But a caller call in, and he would scream at them and everything else. Look, I've been doing this now for 30 years. there's a technique to anything if you're a person who wants to broadcast. It's classic theory of the mind. Screaming does not make theory of the mind. Screaming is just screaming. I don't know who the hell you're screaming at because you sound like the damnedest fool of all time. So he would take calls at 5 minutes to the top of the hour. They had the nerve to tell the caller to hurry up. Get your point out. I'm like, it's a setup. He couldn't do it. So when I started to, because they used to have it on ESPN2, his simulcast, I was like, no, I can't. This brother can go back to hell where he came from.
Really. Now see, I did not know. I knew he had a radio show. Yeah. But I did not know that is how he did his radio show. Yeah. That he actually did his callers dirty. I did not know that.
Yeah, wow. Dirty.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. It was horrendous. It was a waste of space again. So I'm glad they pulled the plug on that because you as a broadcaster, it's insulting. And I'm being for real here. It's insulting to have somebody come on the mic, such as this or yours or anybody else's, and come incorrect.
Totally.
Either you come correct or you don't do it at all.
Right.
And I understand why they put him on there, but he was not meant to do radio. He he can't even do a TV show by himself because you wouldn't have, Molly Kuhn and everybody else on there. And for me personally, I like when Max Kellerman was on.
I did too.
I thought it was a good balance.
That's the word I was looking for. He balanced Stephen out.
Right.
And he didn't like that.
And his punk ass couldn't take it.
Yeah, he didn't like that.
Right, he didn't like it. So see, people like him don't like to be corrected. I could tell. I missed the opportunity. Remember they had that audition thing. You wanted to battle Stephen A. Smith at one point. You send in your videotape.
Yeah,
I was this close to doing it. Yeah, I was this close to doing it. We know things happen. Your life, put on the back burner. If I go back in time, I would change that. I would love to debate him, and I would win big.
See, that's the thing. I think anybody can debate him if you have the knowledge of whatever you're talking about and just wipe the floor with him. What he tries to do, and what I've witnessed, what he tries to do is that if it's a subject matter that he is not well versed in doing, like you said, he tries to outscream you, and he tries to bully you, and basically because of the tactic that he uses, that's considered him winning the debate. Now, if it's a subject matter that he knows a lot about, he doesn't scream as much, but he gets extremely arrogant. That much I do know. And the reason why I can find him entertaining is because I do not take him seriously at all. And if I did, that is when I would be like you. I'd be like, forget him. And I can understand why you would say that because this is supposed to be a journalist. But for at least the last decade, there isn't anything journalistic about him.
No, not at all. And don't get me wrong, I understand people change. That's how we evolve, and hopefully there's a maturation process as the older we get in our professional and personal lives. But when it comes to him, look, I believe $8 million a year can change anybody. And you might think that you're on top of the world and nobody can tell you different and stuff like that, but doctor, no, it's just it's a joke at this point. The only thing he's missing is the clown makeup at this point. Because he has the head for it. Because here's another thing.
In the nose.
Right. He has the nose and the head for it. Look, I don't think this will get the Screaming A. Smith, but just in case it gets to him.
Oh my gosh.
Broham, cut all your hair off. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Your hair is back here. It's damn near a yarmulke. So just let it go.
Oh my God.
It is a bristle black yarmulke.
Chris up in here. Chris up in here saying, look, you actually want to keep your hair the way you talk about your own hairline receding backwards each and an inch each year. Oh my gosh. Red Fox, tell him.
Bitch, please.
He's right.
While we're on the hairline subject and cutting it all off, LeBron, follow suit, sir. It's over. Follow suit.
Right. And quit pretending you're young. I think LeBron James is probably 46 years old.
Oh, Lord.
I think he lied about his age all these years. He used the black brush. He used the kiwi, in his hair and everything else. Yeah. No, I think he's older than that. I think he's damn near on an AARP.
Are you saying that he is not LeBron James, but he's Delroy Lindo? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, yeah.
Lindo.
You don't see him in the same room at the same time, don't you? There's one the same. Yeah, you don't use the black brush and everything else. No, you are correct. Yeah, just cut it all off and get over with. You'll be free. Just cut it all off and go back to Screaming A. Smith. Look, let me tell you something. Because what he's doing is he's doing the George Jefferson. And what I mean by the George Jefferson, when he was on the Jeffersons, going back to Sherman Hemsley, each season, Sherman Hemsley's hair went back more.
No. Yes.
If you went back, even go back to All in the Family, we first started from, look at All in the Family, and then look at the first season of the Jeffersons. It went back every season. Oh man, I'm watching season 5. Yeah, because he's all the way back here, season 5.
And then remember when he did the show Amen afterwards, and it was going back even further.
Yes. Yeah, the add-on right. Amen. Right. Exactly on NBC. Correct.
Oh my gosh.
That's true. That's exactly what he's doing. Actually.
Yes.
Wow.
Rap bastard.
Oh my God. Six says, speaking of Screaming A. Smith, I'm sure Shannon Sharp can never be in the same room with him.
I think Shannon would fight him.
Yeah,
Shannon would what?
Shannon would fight him.
Would fight him. Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I think they would go to blows. Look,
I'll pay for that. Look, that's a pay-per-view. I'll pay for that one.
Look, the problem I have with Shannon Sharp is that he goes far too hard for LeBron. Far too hard for him.
He's probably in love with him.
I mean, the dude one time on his show wore a goat mask with the Lakers yellow 23 jersey on.
And then one time he brought a goat.
Y'all
with the Lakers jersey on.
While bringing Hennessy and a cigar.
Yeah, black and mild.
Or
black and mild.
Yes. Yeah, bringing hen and black and mild. Yes.
Now that was a little bit. Now that was mad Negro-ish.
Yeah,
that really was a little bit too much for me. I know black is just in there, run on ABC, but yeah, he was creating a Negro-ish. I mean, our people. I mean, God love them, but I was like, come on, dude, you could have kept that one.
Oh my gosh,
black and mild and Hennessy. There's certain things the public should not watch.
Be privy to.
Not be privy to, right? That belongs to us. I mean, that's our culture and everything else. No, you're gonna let all America watch you smoke a black and mild and drinking hen. I quit.
Oh my God.
I quit the black race. I was like, come on, bro.
Six says, is it me or does Screaming A. Smith remind y'all of Sherman Hemsley? Not Sherman Hemsley, but the George Jefferson character he played.
Yeah, he does.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Maybe that's who he modeled himself after.
You know what? I didn't think about that. And those you're probably right because the two got too much similarity.
Yeah.
In the whole thing. But I still take George Jefferson over Screaming A. Smith any day.
Yeah, because at least you laugh at the stuff he says.
Exactly. Oh my God.
So Six says, Chris, read my mind regarding the George Jefferson reference.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh.
Amen and ain't women. This is serious we're talking about, man. This ain't no joke, man. You know, these dudes on here, man. Gosh. You know, you try your best to support your people. Yeah. But if you're out here, you know, playing the backyard monkey party, I mean, what more can you do? It's the backyard monkey party. I got a big bag of money. You know, people do a lot of things strange for a piece of change.
Oh my gosh.
You ain't lying.
Dang, I don't have a mic because I dropped that right now.
You ain't never lied on that one, brother.
You told all the truth with that one, man.
Yeah, it happens. I get it, but can you live with yourself?
Strange with a little piece of change.
That's right.
Six says if LeBron's lace front is bad, it's nothing compared to Carlos Boozer's magic marker mess he had. No, that was straight
Carlos
up
Boozer.
KIWI on his head.
Kiwi.
We used to laugh and be like, he got that industrial strength Beijing.
Man, that dude dipped his beard in Sharpie.
And the thing is, it would be melted all during the game. I'm like, bro, just let it go. Like, it's not that deep.
Right. It's not. It's look. Look. When it comes down to men and women, we're all trying to find the fountain of youth. But it doesn't exist.
Exactly.
You're chasing the pipe dream.
Mm-hmm.
You really are. So a lot of people have to be truthful with themselves. I'm glad Carlos Boozer finally took the kiwi off his face, because it was like the man said, no, they're dripping all over the place, and it should be on your shoes, not your face. It's kiwi shoe polish, for God's sake.
Oh.
You're wasting valuable shoe polish. LeBron should come clean about his age and shave it all bald. And Screaming A. Smith patting himself after George Jefferson of the Jeffersons. It's a conundrum.
LeBron should come clean about his age.
Well, it makes sense. I mean, look at him. Look, the dude's probably 46 years old, if not that. And all these years about, he's great. He's playing among, he's a man among boys. Yeah, he's like 10 years older than these boys.
So you say that when he was in high school, he actually was 26?
When he was in high school, he was probably already getting on his third car because he had a new driver's license. Bro, man was just, I mean, come on, man.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah.
Oh.
Complain about your age. And another thing real quick about, since we're talking about LeBron James, I get tired of people talk about LeBron as a GOAT, which he is. Everything's generational. I get, like, back in the day when I had hair, and I went to the barbershop, and I, be with, the older cats and the younger cats. They talk about, of course, Bill Russell and Will Chamberlain, those guys. We talk about Magic and, Isaiah Thomas and Michael Jordan. So it was a generational thing of who's the greatest. Right. Dr. J, can never forget about him.
Of course.
So we have LeBron, who says, and correct me if I'm wrong, because in the stuff I've read about LeBron and seen, don't compare him to Michael Jordan, but you wore his number that's synonymous with him at 20, wearing number 23.
Mm-hmm.
You're the only one that's done what? Space Jam 2.
That's right.
Don't compare him to Jordan, though.
Right.
Then you do this recent commercial, Crypto.com. Depending on your age range, it's an older version. Well, it's the current version of LeBron, even though he's 46, talking to his younger self when he was 26. So we see that, and he's having a little conversation, to his younger self. But for the record, Michael Jordan did that for a Gatorade commercial.
My gosh.
It was called 39 versus 23.
Right.
So it was the 39 version of Michael Jordan age-wise to the 23-year-old version of him.
Right.
So, but see, when compared to Michael Jordan. So you have the road you are walking on was paved by Michael Jordan. So that gets on my nerve.
Don't compare me to him.
Right, exactly. The only time I liked LeBron when we went to Miami, changed his number and became his own person. Now, I give him that.
Yeah.
I give him that.
And he needed to do that. I looking back at it now, he needed to do that.
Yeah.
But yes, I agree. I think he's chased Jordan far too much, far too often, and then try to pass it off as, well, I'm my own man.
No, you're not.
Mm-mm.
No, don't forget, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, not 7. Sure wasn't.
I'm not joking.
A flying lie.
I'm like, fool, you knew you weren't going to stay there past 4 years. Come on.
Right.
Yeah.
Come on now.
And my dad used to say, don't piss in my eye and tell me it's raining.
The truth. Yeah. 6 says, to tell you all a story. I remember back in 01, there was a cat that had a goatee, and the next day had a chin strap beard, courtesy of his mom's or sister's eyeliner. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow.
It is no joke out here. I mean, when people lose their minds in the dyeing of their hair and things like that. Don't get me wrong. If you want to do it, there's always a way to do it naturally.
Yeah.
So you have a consultant or a barber or a beautician, whatever you want to do, and do it naturally. But when you just say, give me all of the bottle, it's a little bit too much for me. That's fanaticism.
Give me all the bottle.
That's Blackbeard fanaticism.
Yes. Yeah. Look, I feel you about and your point about GOATs in terms of generations. I fully understand it.
Yeah.
But to me, and you probably will dislike how I do this, sir. To me, when it comes to the greatest of all time conversation, someone said it better than I ever could.
The GOAT conversation is officially over.
Why did you do that?
I didn't know which way he was going, but yeah, I'm pretty shocked by that one. Pretty shocked by that one.
Why did you do that, Cole?
Thank you.
I'm glad you got a nice chuckle out of it. I'm glad, it's ha ha, he, very funny, Mother Hubbard. I mean, that you just ruined my morning. I wish, baby Jesus, that I had alcohol in this container because I need some after watching Screaming A. Smith. You ruined my morning. Thank you very much. Now, we were cool. And now you don't play that crap.
Baby Jesus.
You go play that rat bastard.
I'm glad you got the shades on, Chris, because I can imagine what your eyes was looking like at that moment when that popped up on the screen.
I was in shock.
Baby Jesus, really?
6 pounds 7 ounces.
6 pounds 7 ounces.
Oh, yes. Lord.
Yeah, that's right, Lord. There you go.
Oh my gosh. I don't think I've cried on a broadcast this much ever.
Now, Cole, because we're brothers, and we're all brothers here,
right?
I'm going to forgive you.
Thank you, sir,
for playing that crap.
Playing that crap.
But if you ever do it again, it's going to be a misunderstanding. We can't. Don't soil this program by putting crap on it.
He said soil the program.
Right. Soil the program.
Soil.
That's the equivalent of somebody, taking one big dump on this program. I'm talking about a squat with no toilet paper.
Oh no.
And just giving one big dump in this program. This program was great. Until you put that rat bastard on there and soiled this program. My God, man. Do you have any decency?
It's soiled.
Soiled.
Oh, Lord. Oh, my God.
Holy smokes and Jesus.
The visual details.
Yes, I know.
My goodness.
Baby Jesus is 6 pounds and 7 ounces.
That's right.
Oh, Lord.
Squat and take it down with no toilet tissue.
No toilet.
6 and Cole, you got to bring up a Bernie Mac quote from Chris. Oh my gosh. Oh Lord. Ooh. Yeah, he might want to bust me to my white meat show for that.
No,
yeah.
we're cool, Doc. I mean, I understand the hilarity of the whole thing, but God damn it, that hurt. That hurt my soul, man.
On record, sir. Yeah, we are brothers. I apologize. I'm sorry.
It's cool, baby. It is cool. I give you that, but man, that's like kryptonite to me. that Negro's kryptonite, man. He's Negro kryptonite.
Oh no.
He's Negronite.
Thank you. There you go, my man. He's Negronite, right?
This can be a new nickname for him.
Perfect.
Oh
perfect.
my
Yeah.
gosh.
Screaming A. Smith to me is Negro Night.
Negro Night. Oh my.
Thank you for the assist, brother. That's beautiful.
No problem, man. No
Yes,
problem,
sir.
man. We achieved no problem.
You two got no sense. Nah, I can't look at that fool ever the same way again. I'm just gonna see. I won't see Stephen A. Smith. I'll see Negro Night. Oh my God.
Right.
6 and I'm glad nobody emulated Dennis Rodman in the leagues hairstyle wise. Well, many are trying. Oh Lord.
Yeah, I'd say nowadays they giving it out. They all to try.
Yeah. Well, the great thing about Dennis Rodman was, and I remember Michael Jordan mentioned this on The Last Dance.
Yeah.
That's like his best teammate of all time because
Dennis
Rodman's basketball IQ does not really be discussed, but having seen him firsthand here in Chicago when they were making the run, the third run for the second three-peat, Rodman was a beast. Rodman was just fantastic, man. Despite his off court or on court or both antics, the man delivered all the time. The real deal for you.
Yeah, the amount of basketball he knew, you never really talked about him. You always talked about the antics that he did.
Right.
But yeah, he knew the sport.
Yeah,
absolutely. Just hearing him talk about the art of a rebound just makes your jaw drop. I'm like, dang, he actually put a lot of thought into how you get a rebound. I'm like, doggone. Just judging the ball by the way it caroms off of the board and off of the rim. I'm like, oh my God, this dude actually is a basketball savant. And not to be funny.
No, student of the game.
Yeah.
And I remember one game I was watching, and Michael was not really having a good game, and Pippen got into foul trouble, and the third scoring option was Dennis Rodman. And because you forget about he could actually put the ball in the basket.
Yeah, he could.
I mean, he's
score,
taking like a good mid-range game and garbage putbacks.
Yeah.
But he became the third option. I remember watching it, and we actually won that game with him being the third option. So again, that type of utility Swiss knife type of approach to what Robin was doing was this. That I guess out of both three-peats, for some reason, the second three-peat had to be my favorite. When Robin joined the team, there's nothing against the first three. When Robin, that was like they became like rock stars.
Oh yeah. Definitely. The second three-peat, I think they were. Yeah. Oh, no question.
And Robin hadn't gone too far yet. He was close, but he hadn't gone too far yet.
Right.
Yeah. Oh my. Look, I could continue this. Oh my gosh. This is what I needed. I'm telling you, Base, you are the magic elixir. If I was having a bad day, I now will not have one the rest of the day.
Oh well.
It's sure.
Awesome.
For sure.
Thank you for that. Now that means a lot to me. Now.
Yeah.
I try to bring joy to people's hearts and everything else because it's from the 1/4 of my Native American heart that I bring joy to others.
Well, to my 1/8 of Native American heart, I thank you, sir. So where can anybody and everybody reach you, man?
Very simple. Go to facebook.com and type in Chris Base, CHRISB, as in broadcasting ASE. You'll find me with the same glasses on, sunglasses, and a nice fedora hat on, which is tan. I look very dapper, and dare I say debonair. There are like 1,785 Chris Bases out there. I am the original. Go tell 5 of your friends and 8 of your enemies that Chris Base will be in the air.
Well, I've heard that if you don't have enemies, you're not doing something right. So I agree with that.
Yeah, I got a few.
Yeah, but I am not one of them. I am this man's
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Man, I enjoy just being with you, no matter in what setting, no matter the topic.
Same here, bro.
You are a breath of fresh air, and I really do mean that, man.
I love you guys more. Thank you for always having me on.
Oh, no problem. No problem. This is Chris Base. And thank you, sir. And I have to wrap this up because I have to head on to other things. So where can the people find you, Cole?
Well, there's 2 important places. You guys, I would love to have you guys check me out. And that's playcallsportstalk.com. And also if you hop over to YouTube and you type in Eagles Elite Podcast. If you're an Eagles fan, you love to see Eagles fans argue, disagree, agree, whatever. This is the place for you. There's a lot of Eagles shows out there, but I'm hosting this one, and it's going to be a blast.
All right, well, then I got to pay attention to that. Although I'm not an Eagles fan, I'm not an Eagles hater either. But I do know a lot of Eagles fans because I work in a Pennsylvania area-centric news site. So I know a lot. A lot of Philadelphia, anything sports and all the other type of news. So yeah, I look forward to that. I look forward to seeing that. And you can find me at Cole Sports with a Z. That's Cole Sports with a Z on YouTube. And you can just tune in and you find different things. And another thing on the daily, the mothership itself, and even some film that is just basically just narrated by me, and it's called Upon Further Review. So there's different things on the channel. Just go to Cole Sports with a Z on YouTube, and I think you'll enjoy it. All right, so for all of us here at Cole Sports, we wish you a wonderful weekend. I hope you are safe, and I hope you're happy, and I hope you're full of joy. For Cool, for Brian, and for myself, all I got to say is take care and God bless, and always remember these things. Make your next move your best move, and if your dreams don't scare you, then they're not big enough. Dream big, do bigger. That's what Cool's. That's what Cool's doing. That's what Bass is doing. That's what Sam is doing. Definitely, that is what Ben is doing. That's what Brian's doing. That's what I'm doing. I hope you all are doing the same. This is a wonderful day, wonderful show, and I am blessed to be part of this vehicle. Thank you, Cool. I appreciate you, brother.
No problem. Enjoyed it, man. Enjoyed it for sure.
I enjoyed it too. And Brian, love you, brother. And I'm a man, and I'm unafraid to say that. I love you, brother. Take care,
Yes,
and I hope the family's taking care of you. For all of us here from Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson, I am Cole Johnson of Cole Sports, here to wish you an adios and a goodbye. Tune in on Monday. We'll talk about the NBA playoffs from the weekend and USFL and the NFL draft. See you Monday. Thank you for tuning in to Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson, the hottest of hot takes and the coldest of cold, hard facts.